Hello, this is Mole Man in the morning. Good Mole Man to you.
Hello and welcome to Mole Man in the Morning.
Good moment. Oh, did he die?
That was drunk Mole Man, and that really hurt my head.
Did you actually headbutt the table for that one?
I didn't mean to headbutt it that hard, but yes.
The commitment to the bits.
I am a professional.
We can tell. We can tell.
My head hurts.
We are Mole Man in the Morning. But you got to live with that now.
Yep.
We are Mole Man in the
He's
Morning.
just concussed.
Can I do an intro? No?
Yeah, go for it.
We are Mole Man in the Morning. We are a podcast about how The Simpsons has a lot to say about society. I am your host, John, and I am joined, as ever, by my two charming and slightly concussed co-hosts, Matt.
Hello!
And Michael.
At the ho, podcasterino.
I need a catchphrase.
Joining us today, we got us a special guest. Joining us, we have Sam, who is a community organizer and works with. Sorry, give me the phrasing again.
Yeah, with neurodivergent people and researching neurodivergence.
And my roller coaster full of tigers. Does that help? Does
Absolutely
that help?
perfect. Yeah, nailed it.
Cool. Thanks. No problem.
Yeah, no.
We are looking at 2 episodes of The Simpsons today. We have got Season 4, Episode 16, Duffless, and Season 4, Episode 17, Last Exit to Springfield.
I misread this title and thought it was Duffles at first.
Duffles. It was just an episode about coats.
I was thinking it was like a duffel bag reference or something. I don't know.
Okay. What does duffel mean? Like, you get a duffel coat and a duffel... Is it a type of fabric? Is it a duffel fabric? Oh, it's a brand. Okay. Interesting.
Not sponsored.
Never knew.
But we could be.
Duffel, sponsor the pod.
That's the first sponsor.
Please.
Duffel the brand.
A brand that I didn't know was a brand. Please give us money. So, as ever, before we jump into either of the episodes, we've got some business to take care of, and it's to discuss what are we drinking today.
Oh no, is that appropriate?
Very much so.
Depends what you're drinking.
Well, some generous twat got me rum, so I am drinking Dunderhead rum
Nice.
with
Ooh.
a little bit of lemonade, because I'm not drinking it straight, because I'm a big baby, and I wanted to. I would have gotten Dr. Pepper, but I have been swampoed today, because I have a confession to make.
Oh, gone.
Oh, that's fucking delicious.
Hey.
So
Good.
Is that the
I always
confession?
set myself the challenge of making sure that All for Arnold is edited in time of when I say it will be. And last episode, you'll recall, I said that it would be out by now, and you can very clearly tell it's not out. I'm so sorry. I was so close. It's almost done. I'm so sorry.
I did wonder about that one, I gotta be honest.
Yeah. Whoops.
Hey,
it'll be out soon.
We bought you 3 extra days of editing time.
I know.
Oh,
Michael.
the unprofessionalism. Okay, so due to an unavoidable schedule conflict, I'm your co-host of this podcast may or may not have drunk 7 pints of alcohol before we started recording, so
7?
is desperately trying to sober up as we speak, so he's drinking a cup of tea at the moment.
I've seen you after 5. I'm worried now.
I'm here. I'm talking. What more do you want?
Good lord. Well, cool. To provide balance and nuance in this, Sam, what are you drinking?
I'm just drinking water, actually. Which isn't to say that being sober isn't fun, because it can be. But yeah, right now I'm just drinking water.
Okay, fair enough. I am also behaving today. I've made myself a fancy tea. I've made a Black Forest chai latte.
Oh, that
What on
sounds
earth
amazing.
is that? That sounds a bit
It's
like
lovely.
an
Sounds
abomination, not
disgusting.
gonna lie. Black
Sounds
Forest?
fucking foul.
What?
I got a Black Forest tea from the fancy tea shop in town, and I made it into a latte.
Okay.
How? Latte is coffee.
No, latte is just milky. You get a chai latte.
Does it taste of Black Forest Ghetto?
I
yeah,
hate
yeah.
modern hot
Mm,
drinks. Can I say I say I hate modern hot drinks with a burning, pun intended, passion. Holy shit.
There are a
I
lot.
just want a cup of tea. That's all I want. Cup of tea. You know what that means? Give me a fucking cup of tea.
There are a lot of people bastardizing tea in the same way that the beer industry has bastardized beer, but that's not to say I'm not here
And
for it,
you're
because I
one of
really do
them?
like a lot of silly teas. Oh, I love silly teas.
Nah. Give me a silly tea. It's going in your head. Yorkshire tea or bust.
Oh, absolutely love a Yorkshire tea. We'll never decline a Yorkshire tea, but I also do like a Black Forest chai occasionally.
I am currently drinking a Yorkshire tea.
Nice. Alright, Simpsons.
Anyway, Simpsons. Duffless, our first episode, aired on February 18th, 1993. What on earth happened on this day?
Nothing according to the various websites. I've just got the most eclectic death list that I've ever seen.
There are a lot of deaths on this day, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, on all sorts of varieties and ages, by the looks of it.
7 famous deaths on this day.
Was it from alcoholism?
Well, one of them definitely
was.
is. Yeah.
Oh, there you go then. Themed.
Probably alcoholism. Michael David Morrison died of acute intoxication of a combination of alcohol and drugs at the age of 33.
What a silly man.
Mm.
Yep, Kerry Von Erich shot himself, I know that much. American professional wrestler.
Alright. Let's really bring the mood down.
Yep, Patrick Waite, British reggae rock bassist, passed the Dushy, dies of a heart defect at 24.
Oh
Jesus
my
Christ,
God.
that's depressing.
Let's have some music instead. That's a bit more cheery.
So Whitney Houston is still number 1 in the US with I Will Always Love You.
What a fucking bunch of idiots.
She will always, always love you.
Yep, and No Limit 2 Unlimited is the UK number 1. I think that was...
Yeah,
number
we
one
had
last
that
time, wasn't
last time, didn't we?
I think, spoiler alert, we'll have some new number 1s for the next episode.
Excitement.
I'm just spoiling myself, and we have one new number 1 next episode.
Right, so get into the episode.
Anyway, yeah, Duffless, let's go.
Okay, so the blackboard gag is goldfish don't bounce.
Just
True.
dark. It's very true and also very dark, yeah.
The couch gag, the family overshoot the mark and run into the film of the episode being recorded before going back into the frame.
Gotta be honest, fucking loved this one.
You're a fan of this one?
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. I'm as always, I'm very easily pleased. Yeah, this one was great.
We have seen this before, though, right?
No, this is new.
We sure?
I think both of our
sure?
couch gags are new.
I'm checking. At one point, I got into a period of checking these things, and this was first seen in Lisa the Beauty Queen.
What?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. I guess I just didn't pay attention that week. I normally don't, to be fair.
We've observed in season 3, like, they don't seem to make enough couch gags to do every single episode of a season,
Yeah.
so they sort of double up a lot of them.
They've just given up at this
Unless
point.
it's the circus one, then they septuple up on it. Yep, that's the one.
Well, that one, as we've established, cost a lot of money, so gotta get that one out there.
How? It's so shit.
Look,
has a lot of
there's
characters.
elephants. There are elephants doing backflips.
They
What
had
more do you
to
want?
get real elephants.
Yeah, that's it. They needed the reference. They didn't know what an elephant doing a backflip looked like, so they had to buy elephants and train them to do backflips just so they could animate that.
Right, so the episode begins with the school science fair taking place, and Principal Skinner is very happy with what's happening, considering there are no Asian kids around.
Oh, that was
this
weird, yeah.
immediately I was like, no, this isn't funny. This is bad.
90s humor, everybody, and we see
We
that.
forgot with a new guest we need to establish the rules. We talk a lot. Feel free to interrupt us.
Yeah,
Those are
please.
the rules.
Cool.
Yeah, if you have something to
chime in whenever
say,
you've got
shout
something.
out and people will hopefully pipe down.
That's the general rule of the podcast, and Skinner comes across Bart's science project, which is the Go-Go Ray, and essentially it's a ray that just shoots rays at its participants, and dance moves happen.
Make some dance. It took me an alarming amount of time to realize this was a dream.
You did this last time Bart was dreaming as well. Like, Bart's,
I know.
What did you
Bart's
think
always-
Bart had actually developed a dance ray?
Yeah, I was. As soon as the ray came on screen, I was like, "Hang on, Something a bit odd here.
Yeah, Bart being smart enough to invent a gadget was, I think, the giveaway for me.
I just kind of accepted it. I was just like, okay, fair enough. This is a bit weird, but why not?
So Skinner starts doing the mashed potato, and Mrs. Krabappel ends up doing the monkey, which she cannot
Can't
stop.
stop doing the monkey.
Are these dances? I've never heard mashed potato.
I know the monkey because Johnny Bravo does it.
Okay. I've never heard of any of them.
These are dances of the 1960s, I believe.
Yeah.
Usual Simpsons stuff, I guess, yeah. But obviously going to 1960s dances for reasons.
Skinner loves doing the mashed potato and gives Bart first prize as the words first prize continue to repeat themselves. Till we realise...
I'm interrupting the flow of education and I like it, or something like that.
We then cut to see that it was actually a dream, and it's just Lisa saying first prize into Bart's ear. Bart inquires why she's saying that, and Lisa's response is, "I'm just going to screw with you."
Does this
What a piece
work?
of shit.
Is this a thing? Can you just say things to people in their dreams and like make
Yeah.
stuff happen? Can you do that?
Yeah, all the time I wake up to like noises that were in my dream that had like themed my dream.
I
The
suppose
amount of
so,
times
yeah.
I've like had my alarm in my dream. Like, that's a cliche, but it's real.
We then see that Homer's being encouraged to give Lisa encouragement for a science project, and we see that Lisa has a big-ass tomato. And Lisa's approach is that she's trying to solve world hunger, which leads to Lisa's own imagination dreaming of...
Bit of weird white savior fantasies from Lisa there.
This is pretty much the
very
best
weird.
way to phrase this. In Lisa's fantasy, this poor man is slicing a tomato vertically, which I don't think is physically possible.
What if it's
Did we
that big?
skirt over Bart's topical reference thing again? Where he just says something that... I can't remember what he says, but he just says something that's like, hey, this is a thing that's going on in the world right now.
You're right. Lisa says she made the tomato through steroids, and Bart
That's,
makes,
yes,
and Bart
that
makes a
powers
quick...
our Olympic athletes.
And Lisa says
Yeah.
the very same.
Does anyone find these funny? See, anyone here, do any of you find these funny? I find them incredibly, like, eye-rolling.
Mm-hmm.
When he's just like,
Yeah, I thought
hey,
it's
the real world.
yeah, I think it's interesting how like obviously it's a episode about alcohol, but they start off by talking about steroids and cigarettes, which
yeah.
so they're sort of like
Oh, yeah, the
talking
dog.
about different I guess different drugs really, and what
Yeah.
role they play in society. I don't know if that's deep.
Yeah, like what's acceptable. Like,
yeah.
no, I totally get that. Like, it's acceptable to use steroids when you're a athlete, you know, because we all, it's like, what is it, a best kept secret kind of thing. We all know they do it, we just don't
I mean, is it even a
say they
secret?
do it. No, of course not, but that's my point, is,
No.
I can't remember the specific phrase for it, but we all know they do it.
Yeah, I mean we've
okay,
had
because
Simpsons
they can.
episodes that have very much talked about doping in the Olympics as well. So.
I mean, human beings don't tend to look like bodybuilders, generally.
Yeah,
Mm.
but, well,
you
most
take that
bodybuilders in
back.
general
Arnold
don't look
Schwarzenegger
like...
is the peak of humanity.
Absolutely.
Oh no,
Lord
I
of
have
Saviour.
I have complete competencies, Queen.
Are you saying that the intro to Commando wasn't how all men live in the woods? Is that not just chainsaw, log, muscles? Is that not real? Are you
That's
breaking?
every bodybuilder's routine in the
Next time,
in
next
the
you're
early
gonna tell me
90s.
Santa's not real. I don't fucking like this.
And there's this theme of like when it is and isn't acceptable to like do different drugs. So like later when the like cop is doing the demonstration, well obviously we'll get to that, but he like shows a video of him drinking beer and like chilling out. And it shows like if you have
Mhm.
enough power and influence, you have the right to do different drugs. Like athletes have the right to do steroids or whatever. But like if an average person did it, it might have more.
Dogs are allowed to smoke.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
I
of
don't
course.
think he was allowed to. Okay, so we cut to Bart showing off his science project, which is making the dog smoke cigarettes.
Again, this was another one that I was just like, nah, I don't like that. I don't know if it's just because of recent personal events or just general harm to dogs. Don't like it. Was just like, nah, not into this.
No, don't give your dog cigarettes, folks.
It's
That's,
fine. It
general
is
lack
shown.
of
It is shown to be bad. It is compliant with the Hays Code.
Absolutely, yeah.
Homer declares he's off to work, and then we see the monologue in his mind, which reveals that he's planning to duck out of work to go to the Duff Brewery. And then his brain has a little back and forth until Homer accidentally reveals that he is off to the Duff Brewery and says this out loud. Homer's brain starts to panic, and because can't work out a way out of it until Marge just point blank asks him if he's going to the Duff Brewery, and Homer just
He
shrieks
screams
and
and
runs out.
I was not expecting, like, because of the way it's cut, you know, like it cuts off his mouth when he's thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the bit was going to be that he's just said all of this out loud, but instead it takes a really long time, and then he does, like, say it out loud. It was just a very odd, it was odd editing, I guess, more than anything. I like the bit, obviously, but just a bit of weird.
I do kind of relate to the did I say that or just think it thing. The amount of times like I kind of like I talk to myself way too much, and it mostly comes from YouTubing and podcasting. I'm just so used to like saying my inner monologue that I talk to myself endlessly, and I'm probably insane for it. But you know, whatever.
You
it
guys
is what
have
it
known
is.
me long enough now. I don't have an inner monologue. I just say what I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's plenty of times that I have thought stuff and then been like, wait, did I say that out loud? I might have said that out loud. And I'm in a social situation which does not allow me to be saying every thought out loud. Shit, did I do that? I was going to say, usually the reaction that nobody's given me any strange looks yet suggests like it worked out okay so far.
That's all you can base life on. If no one looks at you like you're a weirdo, then you've succeeded, I think.
Shit, that I've failed.
We then cut back to the plant, and everyone is being lined up like cattle. Employees are being kicked in the arse for trying their shoes, and Homer pulls out an ancient map, which gives...
If the plant is this strict on their workers, how does Homer get away with so much?
Because he's got a map.
Yeah, but I guess it's for the bit. Ultimately, every time I question these things in Simpsons, it's for the bit.
It is.
And
It is for the
I need
bit.
to stop
This
asking.
is solely for
but-
the bit. Yeah.
It is just to make the joke that the nuclear power plant is run like a prison, yes.
Yeah.
Homer's got his map, which tells him he's got to retreat to 7B, which I'm pretty sure
love
is where
this.
Homer works.
If the plant you wish to flee, go to Sector 7B.
We then see Homer trying to flee, and he has to pass several skeletons on the way. And Homer eventually encounters a giant spider, which
Fucking Shelob.
which to get past, he's got to quote a Bible verse, and Homer's got absolutely nothing. So he just throws a rock at it and knocks it unconscious.
He got thou shalt not, and that was about it.
He was halfway there. Homer then leaps out the window, and Barney is waiting for him with a carve of a mattress. Barney,
Princess die?
Barney, thinking he's seen Princess Di, drives away, and Homer hits the concrete, arse first.
That back-breaking noise, though.
Fortunately, Barney didn't actually see Princess Di, he just saw a pile of rags.
Is that a bit? Is that a thing?
I think that was intended to be a bit, yeah.
Is anyone smart enough to know what the bit is?
I think it's just the Simpsons having a go at Princess Di.
Yeah, but but how so? Is it because she's skinny or she had bad taste in clothes? I don't know the bit.
I assumed it was, I don't know, presumably a crack at her fashion taste. I will note that the Simpsons archive did wonder if it was somehow even deeper than that, and it was more a reference to the fact that she was a popular subject of the tabloids, the rags.
The rag, that's clever. If that's true, that's clever. And Simpsons do like making absurdly deep cut jokes.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a bit over the top for an overthinking it, but who knows? Like,
Maybe.
we love to overthink things.
Maybe the Simpsons were just saying that Princess Di is poor.
Maybe it was foreshadowing. We don't know. Anyway, Simpsons.
We go back to the school, and Lisa asks Bart to look after the giant tomato, and Bart becomes all Three Stooges and he impersonates Curly.
Why did she bring it into school if the science festival wasn't today?
Solely for this bit of the episode.
For the bit.
For
For the bit.
plot
For the
device.
bit.
Yeah.
Shut up, Matt, for the bit.
Yep. So Skinner, at this moment, conveniently decides he needs to tie his shoelace, and we get a glorious view of his horse.
He's like wiggling his booty and singing the shoelace song.
To be fair, I don't think anyone can blame Bart for what happens next, as Bart decides to lob said tomato at Skinner's outstretched horse.
I was fully expecting a Nam flashback.
I think
Yeah.
we kind of got that, because we get the shadow going over Skinner, and Skinner turns
Yeah.
around, and we get the slow motion. No.
Just an aside, you said the shoelace song as though that's a thing. Is this a thing that I'm not aware of?
Yeah, there's shoelace tying songs. I mean, the one
I'm sure
that
there
always
are,
lives
but you
rent-free
said
in my
the
head is
shoelace tying song.
yeah.
Like, this was the definitive one.
But there's others like the one in SpongeBob which lives rent free in my head.
Don't
You
know
do
that
a
one.
loop de loop and pull, and your shoes are looking cool.
Right.
There you go. That's
I think I
my
prefer that
sharing
one, to
for the
be fair.
day.
Anyway, the tomato splatters all over Skinner's arse, and we get dramatic music as this happens. The kids laugh at the clearly shell-shocked Skinner. That's your Norm flashback for you. And Lisa yells out, Bart. She's not happy. And we cut back to the brewery and we see that we get the cuckoo clock thing of the man on the couch being drunk.
Yeah, he
I
belches
like the weird
hour.
fusion of that was very clear. They very clearly started drawing that like we're gonna just draw Homer, and then we thought no, that's weird, and then he gave him a different head.
The tall guy greets them and talks about the recent controversy, and nobody has any clue what he's talking about, even though he points out that it was.
This was another really long bit.
He then points out it was on CNN, and nobody knows what the hell he's talking about, so he just kind of brushes over it.
Take it that's intended to be a jab at CNN specifically. Like, I don't know what they've got against CNN.
We then see several signs, including one that says, I know he's not a commie because he doesn't drink Duff.
Yeah, I think there's quite a lot in the episode about how sort of the alcohol industry and capitalism of like showing like the consumption of alcohol to be like sexy and glamorous and all of that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, there's so many jabs at like the marketing of alcohol. Like, I mean, all it's going to these posters. Like the first one they show is a Prohibition era one, which is it's Dr. Duff's health tonic, and I was like, legitimately, that's how a number of alcohol companies did get around Prohibition. They just marketed it as medicinal. There are a handful of American whiskey distilleries that predate Prohibition because they were just like, oh, we're making medicinal whiskey. It's fine. The doctor can prescribe it.
Well, the first commercial that we see kind of sees that with the doctor saying that only Duff fills your Q zone with pure beer goodness.
I love that jab at making up bullshit medical terms that aren't liable, but
yes, yeah,
but are enough to like make it sound vaguely medical. I always love that, because if you go watch old adverts for like Coca-Cola, they are insane with that kind of bullshit.
Well, cigarette companies used to do this also in the 1950s, 60s, where they'd have a doctor go on and go, if you want to have a nice, smooth, clear cigarette going down your throat, this is the one for you.
Yes, yeah.
All the ones that were straight up like admitted that they were going to get you addicted, because there's that it's not Marlboro, that's just the only brand I remember, but they were like it literally says we're gonna get you, like as in they're literally admitting, they're literally admitting you will want these. That's crazy.
And presumably they fully knew that as well.
That's evil.
Yeah. I mean, this ad ends with the guy flying off, and like to me, that reaction was like, "Wait, Red Bull?" It was like,
Red Bull gives you wings.
No, that predates. I think I looked this up, and I think Red Bull didn't come till like 97, so it's a few years. I don't know. I feel like I want to double check that now.
Googling of the day.
Googling of the day.
So speaking of evil, we see Richard Nixon, and
yes.
And we then see that Duff is sponsoring the presidential debate, and John F. Kennedy heartily endorses Duff, and Richard Nixon tries to do the same without actually saying the name of the beer and gets booed. Homer comments that that man has never drunk a Duff in his life.
This is supposedly based on an actual debate of the day, and I spent way more time than was reasonable trying to find a source on that one, and came up like fairly empty-handed, short of spending 4 hours watching presidential debates from 1960, and I'm not that dedicated.
I watched a whole Kennedy speech once. That's my sharing.
Did he mention Duff beer?
No, unfortunately not.
Oh,
I was trying to find a specific quote for something, and I genuinely can't remember what.
Yeah, the reference on Simpsons Archive for that debate is JFK versus Nixon debate in the 1960s, brackets, you know the one.
No, we don't.
I don't!
Why would we know?
We don't go that far.
I don't know that one, no, I don't.
The tour group continues, and they introduce to several of the beers, including the newest flavour, Duff Dry.
Did you notice that they're all coming from the same funnel? That got me. As a fan of beer, but not as much of a fan of beer as John, I found that very funny.
I mean, as a industry inside secret, there are a lot more beers that are the same thing than you would probably appreciate.
Absolutely.
As the tour guide says that Duff has several tricks up their sleeve, and Homer begins to quiz what these are, and the guy tries to fob him off for finally admitting that Duff has absolutely nothing and no new ideas, and Homer meekly goes, "I'm not happy about this."
Yeah, he's like, "Are you happy?" No. Like, of course he's not. He was excited about the new beer. It's very cute.
Barney later reveals they do have a lot of flavor. They're getting into silly stuff like raspberry beers, but, like, they're doing weird spin-offs.
Subtle dig at specifically John is what that was. They actually knew, like, we talk about Simpsons predicting the future. They predicted that John would be that wanker pie that's like, nah, you've got to try this, man. It's infused with coffee and oranges.
I was gonna say, I think it kind of predates the craft beer movement a bit. Like, I don't think there were many raspberry beers doing the rounds in 1993.
So it predicted the craft beer movement?
Yeah, kind of.
Damn.
Simpsons predicted it. We go back to the Simpson household, and Lisa is inconsolable about the demise of a giant tomato. And
admittedly, I would be as well. That sounds like it was a lot of fucking work.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of work.
Marge suggests that Lisa should have a new science project of a hamster running through a maze, and Lisa imagines the hamster stuck in the maze, but with Bart's head, which tickles Lisa as Marge wonders what she's laughing about.
Yeah, I think they started writing that joke and then didn't know how to end it, so they just had Lisa like awkwardly say, "I thought of a joke that in a show." I don't even know what the show was.
Herman's head, which again reference that's a little lost on me. Yeah. Oh, right. No, I've just found the reference. I've just literally spotted it on Simpsons Archive, and it's a show that Yardley Smith starred in, the voice actress who played Lisa.
Oh, that's cute.
And I believe that show had a nod to The Simpsons as well. As some joke where Yardley Smith's character was like, "Hey, do I sound like that character Lisa Simpson?"
I get it. Oh, that's quite
a little
cool,
on the nose, but okay.
We go back to the Duff Brewery tour, and we're in the quality control section where we see the man looking through Duff. This is what I imagine John's job actually is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do this all day, every day.
Yep. We see picking out several mice and syringes and severed hands. Barney unfortunately distracts the man, so he misses Hitler's head going past.
First of a surprising number of Hitler references in The Simpsons.
Yeah.
He's doing all right for mentioning.
How very topical. Let's not mention any more.
We then cut back to the beer tasting room, and Homer is trying his gummy duffs, and we see that Barney is trying
gummy beers, though. Cause like a gummy bear, get it? Gummy beer, yeah.
I'm pretty sure these actually exist.
Oh yeah, no, I used to have them all the time. My granddad used to buy them for me when I was a child. Since we're talking about inappropriate drinking, they are gummy pint glasses that genuinely have rum in them, I think, and you used to be able to buy them at markets. There was a market in the town I grew up in. And my granddad we'd go there and he'd get me sweets, but he'd get me those specifically because he liked them. So me and my granddad would just get slightly trashed.
Are they pint pots? Is that what you're thinking of?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
and they did actually have booze in them, and I fucking love them. I haven't had them in so long. I'm going to order some. Holy shit, do I love those.
I've just looked up a supplier of them. They do insist it contains no alcohol.
Oh,
oh no.
Homer thinks Barney has had enough as Barney's got his head underneath one of the taps, and Barney starts listing all the duffs they yet to try, which include raspberry duff and lady duff and tartar control duff.
I missed that one.
Tartar control duff was my favourite.
We then see Homer and Barney leaving the brewery, and we get the anti-drinking and driving sign before it goes into two guys having a toasting on a car hood saying it's always time for a duff.
Yeah, again,
So
it's the really incongruous nature of alcohol and even smoking advertising, you know? There's genuinely, I'll try and find it, but there is genuinely a cigarette or beer advert that did say good for the whole family.
Right. I'd say very reminiscent of quite a lot of current gambling advertising as well.
Holy fuck, yeah. Like, gambling adverts are just so bad now. It's scary.
Because I guess they're, like, at least to some degree legally obligated, or at least, I don't know, in some sort of, maybe sort of like a self-governing industry body kind of thing. Like, they have to put out at least some adverts that are like, oh, by the way, don't gamble too much.
Yeah, well, they all have the be gamble aware thing
Yeah.
at the end
You might want to stop after you've lost that $1,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't stop gambling. Just gamble responsibly.
Yeah.
Homer decides that Barney has drunk too much to drive home, and Homer's solution to this is to try to knock Barney out. Punching him in the face, hitting him in the face
Tried
with
to
a fire.
knock you out.
He's very resilient, that man.
Yes, Barney gets hit. Barney gets punched in the face, hit over the head with a tire iron, and Homer starts slamming his head into the door before Barney finally gives up over the keys.
Yeah, he doesn't get knocked out. He just relents. He just gives him the keys. I do like as well that it is also slightly realistic. People are just more resilient when they're drunk because they're just limp. You know, you're not tense, so you don't hurt yourself. It's like why drunk people don't injure themselves when they fall over as much.
Yeah, side story, but got a friend who, on returning
You have
home
a friend?
from yeah, someone not seen in a while, but on returning from a beer festival, he did get hit by a car that ran a red light, and
Yes, I remember this.
he did more damage to the car than the car did to him.
I think what was more impressive is earlier on in the night, his cousin tripped over and somehow did a perfect tumble and managed to catch his pint and his sandwich without spilling a drop of either.
Oh yeah,
Fucking excellent.
that was a night.
Very, very nice, that one. As the car drives past, we see that they pass a mascot of a giant stein, which turns out to be Chief Wiggum, as he's got a sting operation going.
This isn't a sting. I think this is just a reference to the fact that police don't do any actual work. They just wait around and it's the deliberate, like, we need an easy bust, so hang out by the Duff Brewery where they give tours. Don't
Yeah,
actually,
fair
you know,
enough.
do any police work. Just fucking wait.
Homer is unfortunately stopped, and we see that in the next scene he's doing the alphabet, and he does it flawlessly. And we see that they would have accepted. We would have said, "Won't you come and play with me?"
Yeah, I like how they were like, we would have accepted a different ending to the song, but just so you know, we were paying attention to that part. We also see that Homer can close his eyes and touch his nose, even though later on, in a much further away episode, he cannot do that.
Yes, that's
As
true.
Homer's about to be let go, but Barney helpfully shouts out, "Give him the breathalyzer."
Breathalyzer! Oh, fuck you, Barney.
Homer immediately fails this and is arrested, and
Why did they not just go straight to the breathalyzer anyway? If they've got that, why did they do the song thing?
American police.
Okay.
Chief Wiggum ambitiously asks Barney if he can drive the car home, and Barney's response is, "Sure thing, giant talking beer,"
Yep.
which probably should have been his first giveaway that was probably not the case. As Barney is driving away, he hits Chief Wiggum, and Chief Wiggum ends up rolling down the hill. Chief Wiggum is first horrified, but begins to enjoy his trip down the hill.
Yeah, it's kind of
Hey,
fun.
this is kind of fun.
Until, unfortunately, he hits a tree and explodes.
Comedy explosion.
Apparently, this does absolutely nothing to him.
Yeah, just some notes were R.I.P. Wiggum. He's back in the next instant.
Being absolutely fine. We see in the next scene that he calls Marge at home and tells her that her husband was found DOA. Marge is horrified to think that Homer is dead, and Chief Wiggum realizes he's got the things mixed up and he actually meant DWI. As the comedy moment ends when a woman comes into the... Mrs. Phillips comes into the station to say that her husband's been reported DWI, and we see Chief Wiggum run away.
I always
Yeah.
forget that Americans call it DWI instead of DUI.
Yeah, that took me a moment to pass that. Yeah, but
Fun
yes.
fact. One of my favorite random facts, the guy that originally voiced the Churchill dog, if you remember those adverts in England.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
The reason he is no longer the voice actor for the Churchill dog is because he got a DUI.
Oh, really?
It'd be really awkward trying to sell car insurance when you're fucking DUI.
Did he recite his alphabet perfectly?
No, I think he essentially mounted a roundabout.
Oh dear.
Yep.
Also, this is the second episode in a row that has the audacity to say ACAB.
What?
Don't worry.
All cops are bastards, because Wiggum's a piece of shit here.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We then cut to Homer in the jail, and Lionel Hutz is giving him legal advice, which is just surprise witnesses.
Yeah,
Until-
this whole bit was great though. It's just surprise witnesses, each more surprising than the last. I love Lionel Hutz, man. He's great.
Unfortunately, Lionel Hutz's legal advice is broken up by the cops telling him to be quiet while he's
Yeah,
in his
because
own
he's also
cell.
in a fucking cell.
Then immediately flash forward to Homer in court, and we see that Homer's license is revoked, and he's got to attend Alcanon meetings, and Homer asks for that to be stricken from the record, and the judge is
I like
not
that
going
last
with it.
statement, stricken from the record. Go on, Homer. At least you tried.
Is Alcoholics Anonymous like a specific? I presume it must be like a specific trademark, but they called it Alkanon, which I read somewhere that was a take on Al-Anon, and I was like, I've only ever heard it Alcoholics Anonymous or AA. So,
Yeah,
Maybe it
Al-Anon
is
is
the
something
registration.
different.
oh, is
I
it?
thought they
Okay, what's
said
that then?
Al-Anon in the show. Did they not say Al-Anon?
They said Alkanon.
Oh, okay.
Alkanon.
So what's Al-Anon? Is that how's that different?
So, wait, let me just double check this a second.
Go for it.
Oh, yeah, so Al-Anon is for people who've been affected by other people's alcoholism,
Oh,
whereas
Oh.
AA or like Alcoholics Anonymous is for your own.
that's interesting.
Oh, interesting.
Because I knew
Okay.
there was groups for that. I didn't know they had like a name. I thought it was
Homer
just
was
a
obviously
thing.
traumatized by Barney's alcoholism.
Weren't we all? Weren't we all?
Yeah, I mean, I guess odd then that they would be riffing on Al-Anon specifically over Alcoholics Anonymous when that's not what Homer would need here.
I have no idea. I think we're overthinking it.
We go to the next scene, and Lisa is trying to buy the most intelligent hamster she can. And the clerk tries to sell her a hamster that he claims writes mysteries
This
in
one
its spare
writes
time.
mysteries.
As Lisa points out why this is unlikely, the clerk eventually gives up and just tells Lisa to buy him before his mother eats him.
Dark.
I did like his like he didn't. He just kept on with the grift for that little bit extra long. It's like he starts with the ending and then works them backwards.
Then cut
Well, I
to home.
appreciated it.
I appreciate
It
it
was
too.
good.
Fuck you guys.
We cut
I
to
don't know
the
what
next
else
scene.
you wanted us to add to that.
We go to the next scene, and Homer's going to work, but of course he doesn't have his license, so he's on presumably Lisa's bike.
The fake out was great. Just that him already in this car, because it gives you just enough time to be like, wait a second, and then little tiny bike.
Mm-hmm.
Nelson laughs at Homer as he's riding the bike, and Homer is begrudging his look, so he rings the bell and decides it's not that bad.
Homer is so easily pleased.
We go back to Lisa and Lisa's new science project to see if the hamster is smarter than Bart.
Mm-hmm.
Bart at this moment walks in and puts his entire fist in his mouth and can't seem to get it out.
I knew someone that had to actually have their jaw dislocated because they put their fist in their mouth.
Oh my god.
Jesus. What?
Yeah. This was in for like primary school.
We cut to the first scientific experiment, and Lisa puts a piece of food on the miniature bookcase, and the hamster moves the sofa to collect it.
Hamster would just climb it.
No, this one's smart.
We then cut to Bart, who sees a cupcake on top of the bookcase and just climbs it himself. The bookcase eventually falls on Bart, and Maggie steals the cupcake.
Who the fuck would notice a cupcake on a bookshelf?
But
Apparently Bart.
Well, all right, yeah, fuck me. I
and the
guess.
hamster.
And the hamster.
We then see that the Lisa connects the hamster treat to a electric charge, and the hamster tries it once before realizing not to, as Lisa goes very dramatic with a scientific reading of the hamster has learned not to trust the hand of man.
Not in any way how electricity works.
It only has one electrode on it.
Meanwhile, we cut to Bart with the cupcake, and Bart, despite the fact he keeps getting shocked, will not give up in his pursuit to
Another
eat this cupcake.
thingy reference, because he's like, oh, wise guy, eh? What, Three Stooges, another Three Stooges
Yeah,
reference.
there's a couple of references in there, yeah.
Yeah, and I wonder also if there's like some parallel between the sort of going for the treat but then getting like electrocuted and drinking. Because obviously,
Yeah.
like when people are drinking and they're getting loads of negative consequences, but they keep going back to it anyway.
Well, yeah, I guess if you want to get slightly dark about it, it's the only good thing in their lives.
It's the cupcake on the bookshelf.
It's the cupcake on the bookshelf.
Yeah.
It's the electrified cupcake. We all have one.
Yeah.
Mine is competitive video games.
So we cut to driving school, and Chief Wiggum warns everybody that's in the class that they're about to have the pants scared off them, and we just see that it's Chief Wiggum in his paddling pool, which causes women to shriek in horror. Chief Wiggum declares this is the wrong movie before assuring us that a hilarious moment is coming, and it's Chief Wiggum just hosing down his wife.
Is this the first sighting of Mrs. Wiggum?
It might be, actually.
Oh, I think, yeah, this was specifically why I wrote down the ACAB reference, because he just hoses down his wife and she's just completely unimpressed and just like, You
Yep.
dickhead.
I mean, having done this to my father when I was 8, I can assure you it's never hilarious.
The recipient is never happy. Oh,
So we-
yeah, I got blasted in the face with water while carrying something. Awesome.
So we cut to the actual movie, and it's Troy McClure in front of a dreadful accident as he declares it's a terrible waste. He then goes into his full spiel, which is saying he's been in charge of such driver's ed films such as Alice's Adventures through the Windshield Glass
Oh, that was grim.
and the decapitation of Larry Leadfoot. And he promises that we're going to have 60 minutes of watching actual crash footage, and we get some cheery, like, Benny Hill sounds.
It is
Benny
basically
Hill-esque
yakety sax,
music.
isn't it? Yeah.
So we just hear the sounds of crashes happening and equally horrified people watching it, including one man who throws up in his mouth.
Oh, God, that's always grim.
And then we get to
Why?
Homer, who's got a big smile on his face as Troy McClure says he is an appealing fellow. In fact, they're appealing him off the sidewalk, and
Oh,
Homer
God.
is always in hysterics because they don't know him.
That perfectly encapsulates the whole like thing of this episode, though. Alcoholism is funny when it's not happening to you.
I think it encapsulates as astonishing amount of society, really, is
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
we're happy to be entertained by other people's misery as long as you don't know them, it's fine.
100%.
We then see Homer going to his Alkanon meeting, and we also see that Jasper's come for his microwave cookery thing, but actually he's here for coping with senility.
Yep.
We then get the meeting happening, and we see that Ned Flanders is surprisingly in this meeting because it's been 4,000 days since his blackberry schnapps. And we see the flash. We then get the flashback of Ned Flanders in bed as Maud asks him if he clipped Ann Landers, and Ned Flanders calls Ann Landers a boring old biddy, and which horrifies Maud.
I always love drunk Ned. It happens every now and then, but he always just looks so pleased. And I'm just always like, do you know what, Ned? I'm happy for you. I'm
And
just
as
glad
he
you're
said-
relaxing.
As he says himself, he was more animal than man.
I mean, can I do my insufferable Simpsons font of knowledge pedantry
go for it.
thing?
Go on, then.
Ned is a man who we have seen in recent history have
Drink
his
wine.
own bar in his basement.
Yeah.
And also, like, play bartender at a dinner party where he made the most alcoholic drink I've ever heard of in my life and served it to Homer.
Yeah, but he wasn't drinking.
This is true.
It's
This
funny
is
'cause
true.
it's not him.
Yeah.
See, it all comes full circle.
So actually, Homer's right. Ned is a monster. Oh shit! I have to change some ratings.
So we cut to some of the other attendees of the meeting, which includes Otto, who declares he likes to get blotto.
I like to get
Clear.
blotto.
Hans Moorman stands up and says that drinking ruined his life because he's only 31 years old.
Yeah. Which means his driving license was accurate when it said he was born in 1960 something.
Maybe that's why they did it. They were just like, wait, hang on a second.
Yeah, there's also a cute little camera gag where it keeps panning around the group and it pans across to Hans and then it has to pan down as well to see him.
Homer declares that he's only here because the court made him, and Reverend Lovejoy assures him that with their help, he'll never touch another beer again. Homer leaps out the window screaming. We then see Homer in bed with Marge, saying that they think that he has a problem, and Marge is giving him a quiz. And we see that is your spouse a souse?
Your
see that,
spouse is
God.
I didn't even notice that.
So Marge starts asking him several questions, including, does he ever drink alone? And Homer asks if the Lord counts as a person. Homer's assured that's not the case, so he says yes. If Homer does need beer to fall asleep, and Homer says that would be nice. And does Homer hide beer around the house? And we see that he's hiding it in the toilet.
Literally got two in the system.
Do you think Homer hides beer because he thinks Marge will like throw it away, or just for the convenience?
It's got to be for the convenience. It
I
has
think
to
so.
be. Like, nobody in that house will be throwing it away. It's just got to be
Yeah.
like, well, I'm in the bathroom and I need a beer.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not
That's
going
what I was thinking.
downstairs. I need
I'm not
one
gonna
here.
go to the fridge.
Yeah.
Marge also asks the next question, which is, does Homer drink to escape reality? And Homer looks in the mirror, and it's like he's been doing the Arnold Schwarzenegger diet of bodybuilding, and he's a very muscular man.
Well,
Well,
humming the
Homer's great.
can.
Marge then Marge asks Homer to do something for her, and Homer says anything. Marge says that she wants him to give up beer for a month, and Homer says he'll give up deer for a month. Marge inquires exactly what he said there, and Homer eventually admits that he said deer. And Marge pretty much peer pressures Homer into agreeing that he will give up beer for a month. from starting from tomorrow. The
I
lights
like
go
how
off.
you're saying peer pressure as if she's in the wrong.
Well, she didn't give him much choice in the matter.
Good. That's what an intervention is.
Peer pressuring people to go sober.
Marge was completely unreasonable here.
You can tell who's had 7 pints today.
Yeah. The lights go off and we hear the pissed of a can, and Marge inquires what it was, but Homer reassures her that he was just
I was saying,
love.
"Psst, I love you." Oh, Homer.
We cut to the next scene, and it's at the Simpsons dinner table, and Marge asks Bart to go get the cupcakes, and Bart is having a bit of a crisis as he goes over to get the cupcakes, and we just see him end up twitching on the floor.
Yeah, that didn't really go anywhere. The B plot of this episode really doesn't go anywhere. It just happens.
Well, Bart is scared because he's going to get electrocuted by those cupcakes.
Yes, I know, but that doesn't. That is the last time that is addressed. Really.
Then see Homer collect the beers and start pouring them down the sink as he starts to reminisce about his beer drinking things.
You could just save the beer for a month. You just leave it in the fridge. You could just do
Yeah,
that.
Yeah. I think that's what shows he has a problem. Because if he was able to stop drinking easily, he could just leave them in the house.
Yeah,
But he's like, no, if I see these beers, I'll drink them.
that's true.
Yeah, that's it. Isn't it? Is that he would be tempted by them being there, so he can't have them around.
It's like me and Jaffa Cakes.
We then get Homer's reminiscence about drinking for the first time with Frank Sinatra.
I was
Soup song.
17.
Yeah, I think also it's interesting how the first time he was drinking when he was 17, he was drinking alone. Like, that's quite odd.
Yeah.
Like, when you're a teenager, you'd think, oh, you'd, like, get booze in order to, like, enjoy it with your friends.
I
You
think
would-
there's a lot of
yeah,
references though in media, especially of the time, that talks about sneaking one of your dad's beers. So I think there is also that. Those are the two ways you get introduced to alcohol. Either three, I suppose. You're either just given it by your parents because they don't care. You either sneak one of your, parents' beers, or you drink with friends.
Mhm.
Or
and
you get
Homer
a
just
fake
happened
ID
to-
that says your name is Brian McGee. It's one of the two. One
Yep.
of the three.
Indeed. I mean, to play devil's advocate, I suppose, like, it's not necessarily his first time drinking beer. This is just a time drinking beer.
True.
He's just reminiscing on the good times he's had with beer.
I drank some very good beer.
I mean, who hasn't stayed up listening to Queen while getting absolutely smashed?
Me, I don't like.
I don't think I've ever
Queen.
done that. Queen's great. I do like Queen, but I've never stayed up getting
They're
drunk listening to
fine.
Queen.
They're fine. I know I'm in the wrong. I know. I don't care.
Speaking of being in the wrong, we see Bart go to Lisa's bedroom, and he finally finds the journal. Bart declares that he's going to crush Lisa like the pellet, which turns out to be electrocuted, so Bart continues to shock himself.
Keeps doing it, fucking idiot.
We then see that Lisa goes into the room, and Bart has hidden the journal, and he's doing a full James Bond thing where he's stroking the hamster.
Blofeld, yeah.
And he says that he's hidden the journal, and Lisa's got to do several clues before Lisa immediately finds it.
She already knows where it is. Whoops.
So we cut to the next scene, and we see that the science fair is taking place. We're really rushing through this B plot because the writers obviously have decided, fuck this.
Yeah, I feel like this B plot could have been an episode.
Yeah, for sure.
We see that Milhouse declares that he's going to show us the glory of gravity, and it's a
With a
slinky
slinky.
going down a thing, and it immediately stops.
The old gravity. We've all had that experience, though. I bought a slinky, was very excited to roll it down the stairs at my house, and then it didn't work, and I was like, well, piss biscuits. And that's what I said as a 7-year-old.
Yeah, I don't feel like I've ever known a slinky work exactly like advertised. Like, they're always a
Nah,
bit.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, I think because they're designed for, like, American stairs.
Oh, really?
Like, they're designed for much thinner stairs. Stairs are way longer in England. But also, if you think about it, they were discovered by a naval engineer because he saw a spring, a spring for a ship, go downstairs. And if you think of the stairs on boats and ships, they're super thin. So a slinky would work perfectly on one of those.
Uh-huh.
As Mrs. Krabappel says, it's pretty lame.
Pretty lame, Milhouse. Mrs. Krabappel does not give a shit. I said it, I think it was last episode, though, that Mrs. Hoover is a better example of a teacher that doesn't give a shit, whereas Mrs. Krabappel is like a parody. Because a teacher wouldn't say that to a kid. It's still funny, but you wouldn't say that. You'd think it. You'd fucking think it.
Have we seen anything else of Krabappel in this episode? Because
No, that's it.
I was going to say, as observed before, she is a guest voice actor, so to get her in just to say "pretty lame Millhouse," seems like a lot.
She was doing the monkey at the start of the episode.
Oh,
That's
no,
true.
yeah, true. Duh. But Mrs. Krabappel does become more and more common for a while, so she becomes less of a guest actress and more of a mainstay for a while.
We then see the kid as fighting with his dad, who's built the volcano, and he's eventually sent to go stand in the corner.
Even further.
Martin's got a full-on cosplay thing going on where he declares he's going to travel the world in 80 days. This eventually annoys Nelson, whose science project is shooting squirrels with a BB gun.
It is kind of amazing, though, that the Simpsons writers managed to make us, actual adults, people over 30, want to punch a 10-year-old.
It's quite a talent, isn't it?
It's impressive, isn't it? Because, like, I really, every time Martin gets fucked up, I'm like, yep, good. I'm happy about this. Like when he got
I like his
zapped with
project here.
No,
Well,
the
but
kid
essentially-
making a hot
sorry
air
for
balloon.
him.
Don't. He deserves it. He's a nerd.
Does he?
So,
But it was such a good project. He was so confident about it, and then it just got shot down, literally.
Just because the kid likes a
I
bit
was
of
so
theatrics,
sad.
whom's among us?
we know that Nelson was actually aiming for his head, which makes it even worse.
How was he shooting squirrels if he couldn't hit Martin's head?
I don't think he ever said that he was doing it successfully.
This is true. This is true.
We then see that Homer is trying not to think about beer, and then he sees Ralph Wiggum's exhibit, which is an alcohol-fueled car. This gets Homer's imagination going of being at a gasohol pump, and one for the car,
Gasohol.
One for you,
one for
for
him.
me, one for you, one for me.
Does
Sit
Ralph
down.
even say anything, or does he just fucking stare at Homer?
He just stares at home. It's slightly psychotic. We don't see that Lisa's exhibition is being set up. Marge is a bit concerned about it, but Lisa says it's purely in the interest of science, while secretly thinking this will teach Bart to bust a tomato.
Tomato. My tomato.
She goes very southern there for a second.
My tomato.
Then we see that Bart's revenge is actually that he's got his own science project, which is can hamsters fly planes? And it's just a hamster in a toy plane with some cute goggles on.
He even has tiny goggles.
Lisa points out there's no scientific merit on this, but she's
There
immediately...
absolutely is, though. There absolutely. If an animal could fly a plane, that's incredibly valuable information.
Yeah, but the hamster isn't flying the plane. He's just put a hamster in a remote control plane.
Yes, but the project does have scientific value, even if Bart hasn't done it right. Let me be pedantic.
Fortunately for us, Skinner also accepts Matt's logic and immediately awards Bart first prize.
Why would you need like a random animal to fly a plane when there are literally animals that can fly?
But no, it's it's not because we'd want hamsters to start piloting Boeings. It's because if an animal was intelligent enough to pilot a remote control vehicle, that's valuable biological and anthropological information.
But
Was my
couldn't you
point.
just use like a pigeon for your flying animal purposes?
No, because it's not about needing an animal to fly. It's about studying animals and the level of intelligence they have. If a hamster is intelligent
Okay.
enough to fly a plane, that's very interesting.
I think a hamster would do a better job of running Boeing than some of the people at Boeing these days. Hey,
Way pew 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 pew.
that's a joke for the "well, there's your problem" followers that stuck around.
Nice. All two of them.
So we then see that Homer has managed to get one day out of the way, and then we start the odyssey of Homer's journey through the month. We begin with him watching a Duff beer commercial, which is as 90s as a commercial can get, I think.
Look at these feminists.
They immediately get sprayed with
Oh,
beer and become
God. Yep.
bikini models, and it's let's have beer because down with feminism, I suppose.
Yeah, but I really appreciate Simpsons occasionally putting in actual facts into their shows, though, that if you spray down
Spray
feminists,
with a
they
beer
become
immediately-
bikini models. I'm really glad that we can occasionally get a bit of reality in this silly cartoon show. You know, I really appreciate that.
But then cut to Homer at the baseball game, and Homer, as the game, delivers absolutely nothing, which includes the ball boys having an argument about who gets rid of the beach ball. He goes, I never realised how boring this game was.
As somebody who has got into baseball as a result of the softball episode, like, I will say I don't watch the whole thing. I only watch the highlight reels.
It took me so long to get the bit because I was like, why is there no camera movement? Why are we not seeing the action? What is supposed to be happening? And it's because we're supposed to be bored as well.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what they were going for.
Yeah. You can, for what it's worth, you can summarize an entire baseball game fairly effectively and, like, in an entertaining fashion in 10 minutes.
Swap out baseball for literally any sport.
That's probably true, yeah.
We then see that Homer at the halfway point has realised he's lost some weight, and we get that emphasised by the fact that his pants fall down.
Why am I so easily amused by someone's pants falling down, though? That's so... Like, does that ever go away? Do you ever grow out of that, of seeing someone's pants fall down and go, lol?
Then cut to Homer at a Tupperware party hosted by Patty and Selma.
No.
And,
A Supperware party.
A product so good, the company went bankrupt.
Yeah, like I hadn't even I hadn't realized until now, looking into this episode, that it was actually a trademark. Yeah, it makes sense in retrospect. Why in God's name would you call it Tupperware? That's such a weird name for food containers. Of course, it's a brand, but it's also one of those things that I'm actually a little surprised it hasn't been made generic, because everybody uses it exactly the same way I just did. Of like, that's what you call food containers. Food containers are Tupperware.
I think
They're all Tupperware.
I think it has been made generic to some extent, because like I said, the company went bankrupt.
I did look into it because, like, again, obviously rabbit holes in Wikipedia and things, and no, they still. I think it's still kicking around in some form. It's changed hands a lot,
right? Okay,
but no, it's still a trademark technically. Like, it's used generically, but it is still a trademark somehow.
Selma demonstrates its effectiveness by sticking a whole tub over her face. This horrifies Jub Jub the iguana.
Jub. He's
Jub's
back!
Woo!
MVP!
Meanwhile, Homer is saying that he would kill everyone in the room for a beer.
Yep.
I think it's interesting how it shows, like, how boring life is when you're used to being drunk and then you're suddenly sober and you're like, oh, sports are just, they kick the ball back or whatever. And then parties are just like, you know, people talking about stuff that you're not interested in or whatever. Yeah, it's quite good how they do that.
That's probably true of parties, certainly, but also, like, a Tupperware party sounds like, I can't believe that's a thing that ever existed, or maybe continues to exist, ? Like, that sounds deeply boring. Let's go visit somebody so they can sell us some plastic containers.
Multi-level marketing scheme.
How dare you, that's
is.
my plan for the Christmas party. We then cut back to the AA meeting, and Reverend Lovejoy assures Homer that there's no judgment. Homer declares that he was so desperate for a beer, he snuck into the football stadium and ate the dirt under the bleachers, at which point he's passed out.
This was such a, like, low-effort joke. I don't know why. I didn't like this joke. I don't know. There was something so lazy about it.
We then see Homer on his bike trying not to think about beer, and the world kind of conspires against him, as we see that he's confronted by several ants. The train going past saying chug, chug, chug.
No.
Yeah.
The train is saying chugala, and that annoyed the shit out of me. Why is it not just saying chug? Why is it saying chugala? It's going chugala, chugala, chugala. But just say chug. You have the perfect word, chug, because that's what you do with beer. Just say chug. Ha! It annoyed the shit out of me.
I can tell.
We were annoyed by the giant blimp that said surrender to Duff, that sent miniature bottles of Duff beer with individual parachutes at Homer.
No, that's perfectly logical.
I couldn't tell at this point whether this was, like, intended to be Duff's actual marketing campaign or whether Homer was just hallucinating the bombardment of adverts. Yeah, he was just losing his mind, yeah.
We then see that Homer has actually made the 30 days, and Marge is proud of him, and Homer immediately declares that he's off to Moe's, and he's going to come back loaded, so pack the kids away.
I don't like, the sort of dark overtone of hide the kids or whatever. It's like, what the fuck does Homer do when he's drunk?
I didn't consider that. Wow. Yep.
Because obviously we know he's violent towards Bart, so it's like, oh my god, how much worse does it get?
Marge tries to encourage Homer to go on a bike ride instead, but Homer wants to see Barney, Moe, and that guy that calls him Phil. And
can we all just agree that Marge is like one of the most wholesome people in media?
She's trying.
She just thinks potatoes are neat, guys.
Marge then wants to point out that Homer looks better. He doesn't sweat while he eats anymore, and He's found $100 that was in his pants, and Homer immediately yoinks that. We then see that Homer has cycled all the way to Moe's, and Moe declares that everybody hates Homer now until Homer orders a beer, and then Moe declares that
There's
everybody
two of
now
the same
loves it.
person at the bar as well. Just want to point that out.
Yeah, there are two Larrys.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Larry.
There's a guy that looks a hell of a lot like him in the background.
Yeah, there's two of them. Same coat, same everything.
Homer gets his beer, and then Homer has a good look around the bar and sees that everybody is depressed and miserable.
They have
And so-
taken a very specific, artistic intention with Moe in this moment as well.
Moe is very,
it's-
very smiley and peer
It's
pressure.
all front angle, which is obviously very rare for Simpsons. So it's all front angle Moe, so he looks heinous, and that is obviously very deliberate.
Moe asks Homer to do it for his old friend, and Barney's about pointing out that Moe called Homer a worthless sack of, and then Moe hits him.
Smack. Oh. What does he call
Homer-
him? Shut up. Is it Glug Glug?
Pipe down, Rubber Dub.
Rubber Dub. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually, Homer decides that he doesn't want the beer and asks Moe to stick it in the fridge for him because he's got to go do a bike ride. Moe declares that Homer will be back, and so will you, and you, and you. At which point, Barney points out that if Homer, of course he will be, because if Moe never actually closed, he would never leave. And we cut to Marge and Homer on their bike ride, singing "Raindrops Will Keep Falling on My Head," and that's how the episode goes out.
And then Homer never, ever drinks again. I think this is one of the only times they haven't reset to 0.
I mean, yeah, possibly. Although it does imply that Homer intends to be back for that beer because he says put it in the fridge.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Yes,
He might not go back for it.
The bit of the pointing and you, that's another bit
And
where they really
you.
use, I guess, the the camera angles, and you think, oh god. But yeah, in the bit, if you didn't close, I'd never leave. It's so tragic, isn't it? Because
Poor Barney.
also, it's not even that nice. Like, what is there to do there? They literally sat in silence next to each other, just drinking
Mhm.
themselves unconscious. That scene is quite dark. But then it's juxtaposed with the singing and the sunset and stuff like that, which is it's interesting. But then as soon as he's finished the bike ride, he's gonna go back and have that beer.
Yeah.
at least he got the bike ride.
At least you got the back right.
Yeah.
That's an episode.
Yes, it is.
Da-da-da-da-da.
I'm gonna leave now.
Before you leave us, do we want to go through thoughts on the episode and what it says about society? Did hope to bring you in for a little insight. So, as I guess, certainly, what did you think of it and what are your thoughts on what it says about society?
Yeah, I don't know. I think some of them I managed to get in, but yeah, I think it really shows how alcoholism and capitalism go hand in hand, and how all the way through it's very much alcohol as a business,
Mhm.
and it even sort of destroys the community aspect. Like, you've got all these people together in the pub, but they're not really talking and not engaging or working on projects together because they're just drinking themselves into I don't know, just
A stupor.
obliterating themselves, I guess. So yeah, and the craving as well. Like, you see when he's thinking about alcohol, he's salivating because he's thinking, oh god, I need this so much. And even the beer company, when they're asked, oh, what tricks have you got up your sleeves, they don't really need to have any because they know
No.
they've got that audience anyway. They know they've got those people who will keep coming back because they've developed that dependency on booze. And
Yeah.
then you've got it in with the misogyny of the sexism.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I guess the main thing is, in terms of a societal critique, is how alcoholism probably wouldn't be such a problem if we didn't live under capitalism and we didn't live under these systems that are making a lot of money off of people being depressed in their lives. Obviously, at the beginning, you've got him at work and he's being beaten or beaten into submission and
Mhm.
having to just work this mundane, boring job. So the only way out is the booze, because like what else
escapism.
is there? Yeah, exactly. So it's very much that sort of like, I don't know, the dark forces of capitalism and addiction and sexism, misogyny, stuff like that.
But that's the vehicle of capitalism, isn't it? Is
Mm.
to provide the escape, the capitalism branded licensed escape, because it's cheap enough. Because obviously Homer buys like extremely cheap beer.
Beer was a lot cheaper in 1993 as well.
Also that, yeah. So
Yeah,
he doesn't.
yeah.
He doesn't think about the saving himself from these systems, because the system is what also provides beer. So clearly the system is good, and it's like this endless cyclical thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because what does it matter how badly your boss treats you or how miserable you are if you can go to the pub and you can have a nice beer at the end of the day?
Yeah, absolutely. Lovely. So do you think this is a anti alcoholism episode, or is it just a let's laugh at alcoholism episode?
Mm,
Do you think it's
I
actively
don't-
trying to say something?
I think it does say something, but maybe not sufficiently. Like, in
Mhm.
order to actually look at like alcohol or addiction, you'd need more than like 20 minutes, I guess.
Mm.
And also, there's obviously the other plot which doesn't
Add
really
anything?
engage with like alcoholism at all. So that kind of detracts from maybe the main plot, which is his journey with booze. And
Yeah,
it
that did
doesn't
feel a
really
little skimmed over at times. Like his 30 days, like his journey, we see the start of
Yeah.
it, 15 days, and then he's done. And it's like, oh, we didn't actually get a lot of Homer's journey through that particular process.
No, absolutely. And also the how it feels to have relied on booze and then suddenly be sober and have to sit
Mhm.
with your emotions, have to process your job, and if you've got you're probably somewhat depressed if you're an alcoholic, right? Because even like alcohol is a depressant, and also why are you drinking in the first place, stuff like that. But you never really get anything in depth about his inner world or his like emotions or his journey with it.
We never look at why he drinks, just that he drinks, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or what's it like being sober? Like we know he craves the booze, but we don't know like how is he emotionally interacting with being sober. So I think obviously if they'd wanted to do something that was actually looking at like what it is like to be an alcoholic, they probably would have looked more at like the how it feels to come off of booze and like and battle your demons and stuff like that when you're sober, and sit with the feelings that you've been drinking to distract from.
We've had episodes like this before, though, that if they just removed the B plot, the A plot could have been a lot better. Like, this is a perfectly good episode. I liked this episode. But if they'd removed the B plot, it would have been more interesting. But we are now in the era of Simpsons where it is very much a lot less about plot, capital P plot. It's just about the story that facilitates the gags.
I think sometimes there's some story, sometimes it is just all gags. They kind of go back and forth on it.
But we, like, again, we're still in that point where Simpsons is finding its footing to getting to be actually Simpsons.
I mean, certainly when we get to the next episode, I think I will very much make the case that we are at very much peak Simpsons. So I don't know that there's an argument to be made anymore that they're still finding their footing. They're 4 years into this, and they're making what a lot of people are considering their best content. So,
Controversial.
Maybe I just
Disagreements.
don't like Simpsons that much.
Maybe not. Maybe The Simpsons isn't as good as everyone thinks.
Maybe.
Or maybe a lot of it's just aged worse than anyone realizes.
Yeah, I think that's it. We do that a lot of like looking back at 90s media, and obviously with the Arnie podcast we look at 80s media and beyond, and stuff just doesn't age. You look back at the things that you were nostalgic for and then rewatch them and go, oh wow, this was incredibly like offensive, racist, misogynistic, all these things. And it's okay to still enjoy those things. Like, it's okay to enjoy old Simpsons, even though they do have very specific political leanings, but it's important to acknowledge that, you know?
And I guess also when people are putting The Simpsons on when they get home from work, they're not really looking for like an in-depth analysis of like,
Absolutely
the
not.
human experience. They're just looking for some laughs. Like they just want to like switch off, relax, whatever. And I think these days, we've got really good media about addiction and alcoholism. So we're probably used to watching other shows. Like Feel Good is a really good TV show by Mae Martin, which explores addiction. And then recently there was that film, The Outrun, that's come out, which is really interesting. So yeah, sort of comparing that with what would
The
basically be
Simpsons.
10 minutes of
Yeah.
like, the A plot about what it is to drink or whatever is, yeah, it's never gonna sort of stand up in the same way.
Absolutely. Do we want to do ratings then? Because we've already done what it says about society, so as well.
Yeah.
All right, I'm quite happy to go first.
Go for it.
So I did think this was a fun episode, very simple, kind of dark, obviously, because even I feel like even in the 90s this would have been considered a dark episode, but I did enjoy it. But it gets a Duff beer out of Homer because it's definitely good for you. Go on, drink up. Don't you want to be cool? Duff is cool, guys. All your friends are drinking. Bottoms up, guys. Anyway, that's my rating. Does anyone want to explain Out of Homers to Sam? I just realised before I just said all that shit.
It's fairly abstract. It can mean whatever you want it to mean, but it is whatever you want out of Homer. Homer Out of Homer is obviously a perfect episode. That's about the only real frame of reference we've got for anything.
Blame me if it's confusing.
I gave it a Duff Raspberry out of Homer because it has a weird flavour.
That's quite good. Okay, I'm gonna go with Electric Shock out of Homer.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure why, but that's what I'm going for.
I appreciate that. I think that's good.
I'm giving it When I Was 17 out of Homer.
When I was 17.
In that
That's a good
in that
one.
it's a very good song, but there's a very dark undertone to it.
This is true. Yeah, that's very fair.
Okay.
I like that.
Cool. Sam, you were not going to stick around for the second episode, so before
Thank you
go,
for having me.
No, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your
Thank you.
insights. Do you have anything you would like to promote to our listeners before you go?
Oh my god, that's such a hard question. I guess, can I say resist fascism wherever you can?
You can definitely say that.
Hell
You're
yeah.
encouraged to say that.
That's what I'm gonna go with then.
Okay.
Fuck shitty Nazi cosplayers. Go fuck themselves.
Yeah, 100% that. Yeah. Cool. All right. I'll see you later.
Cool.
Bye.
Thanks.
Have fun.
Thank you for your time.
Bye.
Alrighty, on to Last Exit to Springfield, which
Nailed
is
it. Nailed
Season
it.
4, Episode 17. If Michael sounds a little bit more sober than he did, we have broken this into 2 separate recordings because we had some time constraints, so let's hope it sounds seamless to you.
I'm an unprofessional disgrace.
Well, so is Homer, so it all ties neatly together.
Yes, I'm in day 2 of my 30 days of no deer.
No dear.
Are you actually?
No.
Oh, okay. I don't know, you might be giving up venison. You might really like venison.
I don't think I've ever had it. I would love to try it.
I appreciate the fact you think I can afford venison.
Yeah.
Well, it's that cushy union job you've got.
Yeah.
Oh, look at you bringing it round.
Segway. Meow.
This episode aired on March 11th, 1993. What happened on that day?
Again, not a whole lot. Well, I've got this historical event of Kurt Browning won the men's figure skating championship in Prague.
Good for him.
Yeah, that's it.
When I searched for it, I got 1993 Storm of the Century, but like on further investigation, that was March 12th, so that didn't happen on this day. So that we don't need to dwell on the storm.
We are one day off.
Oh no.
So look out, anybody watching this in 1993 who's listening to this through some form of time travel. Big storm coming tomorrow.
Yeah, you've got 24 hours. So, a famous death I've got. Dino Bravo, Canadian professional wrestler, shot to death.
Damn.
More extensive lists of deaths.
Yep.
People keep dying.
Edgar Nelson Barcliffe dies after a lengthy illness. Manuel de Fosca, Portuguese writer, dies at 81.
Cool. What was in the charts?
Random question. Has anyone here actually read many foreign books? This isn't like me getting a segue to go, oh, well, I have. I haven't. I'm just nerdily curious now. Have any of you read a book that was originally in a different language?
That's a very good question.
I don't immediately know the answer.
No, me neither. I'm fairly certain I've only read Western writers.
The only thing that is immediately springing to mind is not foreign. Okay, I thought he was foreign. I thought Isaac Asimov was Russian for some reason. Asimov sounds Russian.
I thought he was German.
Oh, he was. Yeah, he was born in Russia, but like his Wikipedia page immediately says he was an American writer. It's like, okay, I didn't know if his work had been translated from Russian.
Right.
No is the answer.
I've read some translations of the Magna Carta. Does that count?
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes, from my history degree.
I definitely read some bits of the Aeneid in school.
Yeah, that was written in Greek. So I've done the same. I did the Iliad.
You guys are fucking nerds.
Yeah.
You brought it up.
Yeah, so I can call you nerds.
Yeah, I can't think of much else that's probably like originally in another language. No.
I mean, obviously, other than like manga, but I meant like a book, like a novel.
How dare you? Manga's a book.
I read Battle Royale. Battle Royale was originally in Japanese.
There you go.
There we go.
Everyone an apology. A momentous event did happen in history on this day.
Hmm?
In the US #1 song charts, Whitney Houston has finally fallen.
Oh
No!
They said it would never happen.
She's been replaced by the song Informer by Snow.
Never heard of it.
Don't know who that
I
is.
have no idea what that is. Whitney, come back, all's forgiven. No Limit to Unlimited is still the UK #1. It's had a very good 3 weeks, considering I don't know what the hell it is.
Don't know. Must have been popular.
I'm going to have to do some research on it.
Anyway, what's our chalkboard gag? Let's get into this.
Right, so our chalkboard gag is mud is not one of the 4 food groups.
Hilarious.
Yep.
And our couch gag is the couch turns into a monster and eats the family. It's fair, I quite like this one.
We have seen before, and I'm once again frantically checking to figure out which one had it first. But we've
Man, I
definitely seen a
forget
monster
these
before.
so quickly. I was so confident this was a new one.
Streetcar Named Marge.
God damn, man, I am
Wow.
shit at this.
I appreciate the fact that we're at the stage of Simpsons where they have to start repeating these.
Oh, they did it last season as well.
Yeah, they repeat them pretty frequently.
So the episode starts with our favourite thing, McBain.
McBain! Yeah, I was
we've
so
got-
happy about
So
that.
good.
That is so clipped on my mic. I want to move my mic back a bit.
That's fine.
So we've had the start and we've had the exit. So this is presumably somewhere in the middle of this film. And,
Are you saying you think it's all the same film?
Yes, I think it is the same film.
Is it? Like, you could piece together the entire McBain film? That's awesome.
People have
I would
done it
expect someone has, yeah.
I've
That's
done this on YouTube.
awesome. We have to do a bonus episode where we watch that and review it as a film. That's awesome.
I'll tell you what, 1,000 YouTube subscribers will do it.
Actually, yeah, 1,000 is doable.
I don't think that's too unrealistic.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, get that happening,
so-
guys. If you want us to
Okay.
review the McBain film, and I will be as like serious as possible. I will be like Mr. Serious Review Man.
And 100,000 for lesbian Bigfoot.
No, I'll do that for free.
Yeah, fair enough.
So we're at the villain's main mansion, and we see that there's a Venus de Milo sculpture, and Mendoza, who is apparently the bad guy, starts to reveal that he's got swank, his newest creation, which is 10 times more addictive than marijuana.
This one it is shocking my inability to know when it's actually Simpsons. Because this again, I was like, where the fuck is this episode going?
So I say, toast to human misery. We don't see the big bulky arms burst out of the Venus de Milo, and the ice cracks, and the greatest ice pun of all time comes from McBain's mouth.
Ice to meet you.
To see you.
Ice to see you.
Which
also,
I swear to God, my mind immediately went, wait, Mr. Freeze, but
Yeah,
this
from,
predates it by 4 years.
Yeah.
This is where Batman and Robin stole it from, I think.
Yeah.
This
I
is
think
the
they
only...
must have done.
No, I feel like this is something people have been saying for years.
Maybe, but like it being the Arnie analog as
Yeah,
well.
it's great. It's hilarious.
Perfect.
So McBain begins shooting his machine gun, and
Can we also point out, though, actually, actual, technically real visible nipple in The Simpsons with the Venus de Milo? Like actual bumps and everything. I was just like, I'm curious if they had to like get that checked, or if they just saw if they could get away with it, you know?
Oh, interesting, maybe. I mean, to give you a modicum of credit, like, it took me a hot second to pick up on the fact that this was McBain, because at first I just assumed big fancy mansion with rich people. I figured this was going in Mr. Burns' directions.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we're getting there.
Well, yes.
So McBain begins firing his machine gun very indiscriminately, as we see that he kills all the bad guys and the orchestra, and two blokes fighting over some cake.
Trying to get the cake, man. I was like, that's dedication, but it does look like good cake.
After McBain is killed everyone except Mendoza. Mendoza offers him a salmon puff, and this is enough to fell McBain.
Very well.
Well, it's got a gas in it. We love a knockout gas.
Yeah.
So we see Mendoza laughing evilly, and we see that actually this is the McBain movie, and Bart and Hope are watching this on their television. Bart comments
And I was shocked.
Yeah, this has finally worked it out. Bart declares that Mendoza's an evil man, and Homer reassures him that it's just a movie and no one's that evil. We immediately cut to Mr. Burns watching the poor helpless window
Smash
cleaner.
cut to Burns.
Burns laughing maniacally at the poor window cleaner just hanging from the broken cart. Burns closes the window and we just hear the "ah" in the background.
Do you know, I'm going to make I don't think it's even a weird confession. I'd kind of love to be a window cleaner. It sounds very just chill.
Yeah.
The only thing having lived with many barky dogs, that's the only thing I could imagine being a worry for me is a dog suddenly barking at the window and me falling and dying.
I mean, when you're like on the 30th floor of an office block, I imagine dog risk is lower.
This is true.
I don't think that guy.
I don't think that guy plummeted. In general.
I don't think the guy plummeted to his devil's going, "Oh, I hope there's no dog down there."
Release the hounds.
Release the hounds.
Burns is a bit more distracted by the fact the union representative hasn't shown up yet, and Smithers clarifies that it's because he's been missing since he promised to clean up the union. We then cut to a football game, and one of the football players falls over a suspicious mound of dirt.
Yeah.
Jimmy Hoffa references.
Yep, the mafia clearly getting a work in there. But Burns decides to look at the contract himself, and we see that Burns' breaking point is a green cookie on St. Patrick's Day.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Why do the workers deserve that? It's disgusting. Really, it's the billionaires that are struggling in these times. I just want to take my moment to have a soapbox here. That really, it's the hard-working, bootstrap-loving, rich people that need the help right now.
Yeah,
well, absolutely. He built it right up from the days when you had to smash atoms on an anvil.
Yeah.
Yes, we get Burns' flashback to with him with his grandfather, and we see that the nuclear power plant is atom smashing. And one of the workers is pulled out and is revealed that he's got 6 atoms in his pockets.
Atoms! 6 of them!
To be fair, he deserved what he got.
Absolutely, it's only fair. How dare you
Who's
steal from
stealing
hard-working rich
How dare
man?
you steal atoms? The boy is taken away and he declares that a union will form. Then he goes on to a tirade about how the unions will become corrupt and the Japanese will swallow them all. Burns' grandpa does not believe this, and I can't remember exactly what he said in response to this.
He calls them sandal-wearing goldfish tenders.
I thought it was hilarious that even in a pseudo pro-union blue-collar episode that is supposedly on the side of those people, they still have to make the anti-union American sentiment known. You know what I mean? Like even in a left-wing episode of The Simpsons, they're still like, oh, but unions are so shitty, and it's like,
I mean, like, it would be disingenuous to pretend there haven't been corrupt unions
There's
out there.
plenty of
you know.
suspect things going on in the union.
Yeah, I
And,
guess
you know,
so.
like, nodding to that is not unreasonable. I mean, I prefer the overall message, which, yes, is unions good, and unions have been stripped of so much power in this day and age that, like, it's hard to do as much corruption anymore, but, you know.
Burns laments the fact that they didn't listen to the boy, instead walled him up in the abandoned coke oven, which is just a fantastic throwaway line. Burns decides that he's going to avenge his grandfather and take on the greedy union and take back the dental plan.
Dental plan!
And we lead into a B plot that actually ties into the A
Yeah,
plot.
this
for
actually
once.
ties together quite nicely, doesn't it? We see that
No.
we're at the painless dentistry surgery, which was formerly
Oh,
called
right.
the painful dentistry
Yeah.
surgery.
Dentistry. Yeah, that's the B plot.
Yeah, I remember now. I was like thinking, I was like, why? No, it doesn't tie in at all. But I guess it kind of does.
I mean, if this had been like a random doctor's office, yeah, I'd agree with you. But
Yeah, I mean,
dentistry-
the fact that he's fighting for the dental plan so that because Lisa needs braces, yeah, I guess it ties in. But I don't know. I would say they're related. I wouldn't say they tie into each other.
Fine.
we see that Ralph is getting his teeth checked, and Ralph is asked by the very sinister-looking dentist how many times he brushes his teeth. He says 3 times a day. The dentist asks why must he turn this office into a house of lies.
This like incredibly intense dentist is
He's
my
fantastic.
favorite. He's so good. Why must you turn my office into a den of lies?
Yeah, like he's intense enough that you think they would have got a guest voice actor to do it. It is just Hank Azaria.
Yeah, but Hank Azaria is just the king of voices, though.
To be fair, they asked both Anthony Hopkins and Clint Eastwood to do that voice,
It's
though.
very clearly based on Anthony Hopkins, isn't
What
it?
an odd like pair. Like Anthony Hopkins said no. Who do we get? Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, why not? Sure.
Ralph tearfully admits that he doesn't brush, and this leads to the breaking out of the Great Book of British Smiles.
Yeah.
And we're all personally attacked as they point out that we have horrible teeth, including our current monarch.
Yeah. We've all seen the Big Book of British Smiles. Yeah, that's done the rounds as a meme before.
We then see Bart in the doctor's office scaring the kids by saying that the doctor pulls out the teeth and uses it as a rattle in a spray can.
It's just Bart being Bart.
We then see Maggie's getting her teeth checked, and he's concerned they're coming in crooked and asks Marge if she uses a pacifier. Marge tries to lie, but he's not having this at all.
That doesn't go anywhere. Like, you kind of expect something to come of that, but it's like, no, Maggie's teeth are coming in crooked. Don't worry about it.
Just calls her a liar, and then we cut to the next scene of Maggie sucking on the giant toy tooth. The dentist reveals that Lisa needs braces, and Lisa complains that she'll be a social outcast, even more so.
Even more so.
Just an observation about the giant toy tooth on the table. Why? I mean, I get the dentists are about teeth, but like, have you ever noticed how like branding and everything around a dentist office is just unnervingly focused on like incorporating teeth into all of the imagery, like just disproportionately so compared to any comparable business.
I assume that they just don't want you to get confused where you are. Like, am I in an ice cream shop? No,
It's
there's a picture of a
never
tooth.
bothered me though. Like I totally agree with you that yeah, like dentist offices tend to be crazy into teeth. But Ed Byrne actually did a good like series of jokes on it. I won't go through the whole thing obviously, but he said like the way dentists study, they seem to think that the teeth are the most important part of the body. You know, because the amount of times you hear that you know bad gum health is related to this, it's related to this, it's related blah 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 blah, and it's like, all right, but I could just buy more, and that is how I feel. I genuinely haven't been to the dentist since I was 18. I just brush my teeth and take care of them. That's it.
I only just recently got signed up with a dentist since moving, and I didn't actually get signed up with a dentist the last time I moved, so I hadn't been to the dentist since pre-pandemic. And the new dentist I'm signed up with is immediately logo is like, we've somehow contorted this tooth imagery into the letters that make the initials of the dentistry. I was like, oh, for God's sake.
Branding, broski.
Yeah, branding.
Yeah. Marge asks if Lisa does indeed need the braces, and the dentist pulls out a computer simulation of Lisa, which progressively gets more and more horrific until the tooth is literally going through her face.
I genuinely forgot, because of how much I avoid it, how much I absolutely hate teeth-based body horror. genuinely, I almost looked away. I hated this.
It's pretty grim.
There's something about, teeth in any kind of like abnormal setting. I'm like, nah, I'm out.
So
Really
you won't be on board with Bart's plan to take Lisa to the south and charge 2 bits a gander.
Well, no, Bart can do that. I'm just not going to be there.
Just wouldn't pay to see
I'm
it.
not going to go pay to see it, yeah.
We cut to home on the couch watching wrestling, and we see that the Iron Yuppie is taking on the Dr. Hillbilly,
Also, new location mentioned, the Springfield Grapplearium.
which is amazing.
we need to bring back making up words for places. We need to do that. We need to bring that back. The Grapplearium, like, seriously, in something like wrestling, WWE and that kind of thing, or whatever it is now, because I think it's not E anymore. I think it's F. Whatever.
No, it's still WWE. You were right.
Was it F and now it's E?
It was F because the Worldwide Wildlife Fund sued them eventually because they were breaking the trademark.
Okay, right. Anyway, yeah, things that are so ostentatious and bombastic as things like the WWE, they should definitely name their stadiums the Grapplearium.
I agree. The football stadium should be called the Soccerino or something like that.
The Kickium. The Bootium.
The £15 for a burger?
That is true, though. At least they're honest.
Lisa comes back sad as they reveal that she needs braces, and Homer reassures them they won the dental plan in the '89 strike. We then get a flashback of the strike, and we see that as the...
That's how I got this scar.
We see that Homer got said scar from trying to get a burrito from Joe's Catering.
Where's my burrito?
And the door
Where's
fell on his
my
head.
burrito?
He also got another star sneaking under a pay toilet.
Yep. Well, I mean, who's going to pay for a toilet? Come on.
If it means paying for a toilet or crawling on piss ground, I'm going to pay for the toilet.
Well, they were fighting for equitable treatment at the hands of management, and they wanted it soon.
Soon.
Yeah, it's not the catchiest chant I've ever heard.
It's not quite as
but,
catchy as Where's My Burrito?
But, I mean, like, maybe they shouldn't have killed the union leader.
Well, speaking of which, we're at the union meeting now, which is for the International Brotherhood of Jazz Dancers, Pastry Chefs, and Nuclear Technicians. Those three things go hand in hand.
Yeah, with tremendous logo as well. The dancer in the spotlight holding an atom and a cupcake.
Well, that's how you know what it is. It's branding. See, like teeth.
See, like teeth. I want that on our MeUndies. See, like teeth. That's it, just right on the ass.
Oh, that could be a horrible encouragement for something.
That's the implications of having C like teeth on your arse, though.
Exactly. This back door is firmly locked, sir.
I'll host the meeting, and he says that as this is happening,
Sorry, I really tickled myself with that.
By inventing new forms of tooth-based body horror.
Yeah, I'm the problem.
well, imagine a tube going through your ass.
Oh, God.
Well, you'd be like Chucky Fitzhugh, who hasn't been seen lately, and we're all praying for his safe return, which draws a right big laugh.
So is it implying that they're the ones that killed the union rep?
No, it's just implied that they know what happened to him.
Oh, right, okay.
This is what you get for cleaning up that union. We then see that the plan is essentially the same, except they get a free keg of beer. I bet that they have to give up the dental plan. Of course, no one cares because they got a free keg of beer, including Lenny saying goodbye to the dental plan as he toasts it.
Dental plan.
We then get a good 20 seconds of Homer standing there going, dental plan, and Lisa needs braces.
So long.
It's a lot longer than I remember it. It's only broken up by Cole's teeth going into Homer's arse. No, sorry, a pencil.
You're right there, Michael.
Oh no, I'm just in a fantasy world like Homer was. After Homer gets the pencil out of his arse, we get another 5 to 6 seconds.
Yeah, I love how he's like, I lost my train of thought, and then just immediately back into it. Dental plan. Lisa needs braces.
Homer finally has his epiphany that if they give up the dental plan, they'll have to pay for Lisa's braces. And
oh no, Homer hasn't got any money.
No.
Clearly he doesn't for braces.
83k, guys. 83k. Just keep that in mind for every joke about them being poor.
Homer appeals to the workers not to give up the dental plan, including evidencing Lenny's diamond in his tooth, which is immediately stolen.
Yoink!
And Gummy Joe the Hillbilly, who I guess is in charge of all the computer systems.
Well, I guess I wouldn't have old Chomper.
Which he uses to open a can of soda.
Have you ever watched people open like bottles with their teeth?
Yes, it's
Speaking of teeth-based body horror, have you seen the people that have failed to do it?
Oh,
it's
you know,
awful.
I have seen it, and I tend to turn the video off at that point.
I saw someone do it in person. Was why.
Oh.
Yeah, it was unpleasant.
But who needs a tongue? Homer, after cajoling the people to his side, begins tearing up the contract, and we see that there's a hidden camera on the keg that no one noticed. And we see that it's Mr. Burns asking who that is. Smithers points out who Homer is and then gives several examples
Simpson,
of how Burns actually knows him.
I love this. I never knew they made a joke about Burns forgetting Homer. Like, that they acknowledged that it's a running gag. I thought that was really funny.
You thwarted your campaign for governor, you ran over his son, he saved the plant from meltdown, his wife painted you in the nude. It doesn't ring a bell.
There's no clue who he is. We then see that Homer is nominated to be the new head of the union, and only one person opposes.
No.
And Homer is delighted and asks what the job pays. He's told that nothing, unless he's crooked.
Unless you're crooked.
We then see that the next scene begins, and Homer is delighted with the family that he's now the head of the union, because now he can make links to organised crime. We then get
organised crime.
We then get a Godfather fantasy of Homer being given many donuts for...
Molto bene.
That is the height of corruption for Homer, is just free donuts.
Free donuts.
And he doesn't solve a single problem, they're just giving him donuts.
Well, yeah, because he's not going to solve them then and there. He's promising to solve them later, as long as they give him donuts.
Yeah, you don't know that. The fancy
first guy didn't even have a problem. He was just like,
making
"Here,
a
have a donut." He's just sucking up.
Yeah.
The woman was like, "My son has trouble," and he's like, "No, donuts."
Donuts first. I like how after they come out of the fancy, Homer's still talking in an Italian accent.
Molto bene.
That's a nicer donut.
I love Homer's fantasy lands, man.
Lisa asks if Homer thinks he can get the dental plan back, and Homer admits that it depends on who's the better negotiator, him or Mr. Burns. At that moment, Bart changes his pastry for a doorstop.
I'll trade you this delicious doorstop for that old crusty Danish.
Homer, of course, takes this deal and stares at the doorstop for a second before saying no. And we then go back to the dentist, and Lisa has shown a very elaborate set of braces, which even includes spraying out some Calvin Klein for teeth.
Calvin Klein's obsession for teeth.
Did
Yes,
not know that was a thing. The
thing that really bugged me about this, again with the whole returning to zero thing, is them saying these are nearly invisible, and I'm like, no, they're really fucking clear. They're really there. It was just a weird gag because it was like, these are nearly invisible. I'm like,
he didn't say near. Well, I mean, I've got the Frinkiak transcript here, and it just says invisible. He doesn't say nearly invisible.
Oh, it's even worse. They're invisible. Like, well, no, they're there. I can see them. If they're invisible, they'd
but
be
when
fucking
you wear
invisible.
them, they're invisible.
No, that's not how fucking braces work.
They're invisible for plot reasons.
No, they're invisible for returning to zero at the end of the episode. That's all.
Yes, that's what I meant.
It's a plot device. Leave it be.
It's not a plot device. It's not a plot device. It's just
it's a plot resetting device.
We need to mention Lisa needs braces in a future episode, and why you can't see them. It's because they're invisible.
Remarkably, the bad braces that she will get in a second disappear in a significant part through much of the episode, and they're not like that visible. Like they play it up at the start, and then the second time you see it, like most of the contraption is just gone.
Well, she might have had an upgrade between those two scenes.
Maybe.
Marge confirms that they don't have the money for them and they need something more affordable, at which point he brings out the Hannibal Lecter-style braces, which predate stainless steel, so you can't get them wet.
You can't get them wet. This is another thing that, like, bugged me, but it's that sitcom logic kind of thing of just like, why can't you just wait a few days to see if you get a dental plan?
No,
like,
gotta get them now.
The effect of not having, like, as someone who had braces, the effect of waiting 3 days is not a big just wait, because it's more dangerous for her teeth to add shit braces, take them out, and add new braces.
See, what you don't know is if you'd waited 4 days, that tooth would have gone for your face. So time is of the urgency, my friend. We then see Mr. Burns looking at Homer through the monitor, thinking he's exercising, when in truth he's got a sugar daddy stuck to his back, and when he's got to help get it off.
That is an interesting name for a sweet.
Yeah, it's a big lollipop, I think. Something you still call.
Yeah. I don't know. I foolishly just Googled sugar daddy and obviously did not get sweets.
Speaking of a sugar daddy situation, Mr. Burns has called Homer into his office and wants to talk about the union, and Homer misunderstands why Mr. Burns is being so nice to him, and Mr. Burns starts using language that Homer unfortunately starts to misunderstand and believes that Mr. Burns is actually coming on to him.
Sugar daddy is just caramel on a stick, by the way.
Yeah. Well, speaking of caramel on a stick, we never quite established what Mr. Burns wants to slip into Homer's back pocket. And we see Mr. Burns giving his cheeky little wink, which eventually sets the screaming off in Homer's skull. But Homer quite diplomatically turns Mr. Burns down, saying he doesn't want any of those backdoor shenanigans, even though he is flattered and a bit curious. But I
love the fact that they took that opportunity to make that joke, because obviously backdoor shenanigans does mean like backdoor dealing, as in being corrupt.
Yeah. Yes.
So Homer is saying the right thing in that situation, but obviously what Homer means and what the words he's using mean are like two different things, which I just...
It's a clever double entendre.
Exactly. It was just clever. I liked it. It was funny.
I did like Mr. Burns actually saying like he was quite disappointed that Homer wasn't into the backdoor shenanigans. We then go back to the dentist, and Lisa shows some of the tools to reassure her, which include the scraper and the gouger.
And a poker.
As someone who has had teeth removed, teeth removed that don't need to be removed, but they're being removed for like braces, so like perfectly healthy teeth, it is the worst fucking experience. It was the most painful ever, because they put the numbing cream on and then just went straight in with the needle, and it's like, aren't you supposed to wait 15 minutes or whatever? So they didn't.
What you guessed?
I know you're trying to do a segue. I'm telling a fucking story. I genuinely left marks in the dentist's chair from squeezing the like leather because of the needle. It was awful, so incredibly painful. Dentists are evil, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, the tooth extractions are always like they have always seemed. I've never had one done, but they have always seemed horrific enough to scare me into taking pretty good care of my teeth.
Yeah.
You've got to get over your fear of the gouger, John.
No, thank you. I simply choose not to engage with the gouger.
If I ignore its existence.
Well, if you ever do need to encounter it, I'm sure you can be guessed.
I would opt for guessing if that is an option.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then we'll see Lisa have an entire trip out of which seems to be 1970s Brit pop culture.
It's a Yellow Submarine reference, you child.
No, I know, because the Beatles literally show up at the end in a purple submarine.
I'm saying, have you not, as in the movie Yellow Submarine, not just the album? Have you not seen Yellow Submarine?
I have, yes.
It's so good. I love that movie. I've watched it so many times.
Lisa's fantasy ends with the Beatles crashing into the Queen Victoria, and you just get the Liverpoolian help us.
Help us.
They did not get the Beatles to voice that line. You'll be surprised to learn.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, 3 of them could have done it, but they were just being lazy.
Well, from what it sounds like from last time, bloody Ringo would have done it.
Yeah, Ringo would have.
He'd have been up for it, yeah.
Could have done John Lennon's voice. And then see Lisa has woken up, and the dentist looks horrified by what he's done as Lisa demands the mirror. Lisa does get the mirror, and we just see the sinister, evil cackling as the dentist is now cowering in fear, and the mirror smashes.
Yeah, didn't like that silhouette. Hated it. Didn't like this.
Yeah, it's I think that's supposed to be a reference to the 1989 Batman film with the Joker turning into the Joker.
It's the Joker, yeah. We then see that Lisa comes home with her new braces, which go all the way around her head, as to John's point earlier. Marge tries to reassure Lisa that she doesn't look like a freak. And
did these braces like that kind of brace ever actually exist? Because I've only seen them in pop culture.
I have no idea.
I think some form of headgear that looked like that. It may not have specifically been for.
It's just crazy. It's just so much.
I've seen that form of contraption before, but I couldn't tell you what it was in.
The only ones I've seen actually seen on real people is the ones that are for like neck injuries, like to keep your head still.
I think it's supposed to resemble sort of like an Iron Maiden, which would tear your mouth apart. I think that's what they were going for.
Fuck.
But anyway, the dog sees Lisa's new braces and stops in its tracks and immediately flees. At that point, Homer gets a knock on the door from hired goons. And
Hired goons.
I appreciate the fact they announced themselves before they took
They're
over.
very professional goons.
And Homer can't quite grasp the concept of hired goons.
Hired goons.
Yeah. Legal pro tip from Mole Man in the Morning podcast. If someone knocks on your door and announces themselves as hired goons, do not answer.
Oh, do answer, because you might be taken to a very exotic, fancy mansion like Homer is.
Yeah, it's just a nice trip to meet a very nice, polite businessman who just wanted to have the meeting in person on
Well, he does
his
get a beer out
private
of it,
grounds.
actually, yeah.
Yeah. See that Mr. Burns is tending to his birds, which includes a vulture that looks exactly like him.
And also sounds like him.
Homer tells Burns he could have just called, and Burns says he's happy that Crusher and Lobo didn't hurt him. And you don't get the personal touch of not using hired goons, and Homer again says hired goons.
Hired goons.
We then see that Homer goes on a bit of a tour of Burns' house, which includes seeing the largest television in the world. Of course, Bumblebee Man is on with a skunk in his bed, and Burns is not happy about this.
Largest TV in the free world. It does imply there may be others in this, I don't know. I was going to say Soviet Union, but I guess that's collapsed at this point. I don't know where he's implying there might be bigger ones. China?
China.
Skegness.
Yes, that notorious communist hellhole, Skegness.
We then see that Mr. Burns has employed several monkeys to write the greatest novel of all time, which sounds suspiciously like Charles Dickens' Great Expectations so far, except with the words, the blurst of times. Which
It was the best of times, it was the blurst of times.
Sounds like an improvement to me.
It is one of those random bits of The Simpsons that has, I guess, taken on a bit of a life of its own outside of context. Because, if you'd asked me which episode that was from, I would not have guessed this one.
Definitely not. But I think dental plan's the same. And that's like a core
No,
part
I
of
knew
the
the
episode.
dental. No, I didn't know the
probably
dental
guessed
plan was
the
about the
episode.
strike.
I mean, yeah, you could probably.
No. I guarantee more people know just the Lenny saying dental plan than know what the episode is about. Guarantee it. Put money on
Okay,
that.
yeah.
Okay, now I understand the problem you're making. You're sorry, I misunderstood. I refrain my statement.
You fucking should. So
You
aggressive.
refrain your statement. What?
It was the blurst of times, John.
It was the blurst of times.
Apparently I'm not as sober as I thought. Right, sorry about that. The tour ends in Mr. Burns' basement, which Homer points out. And
This
Burns
got me.
And Burns concedes that, yes, maybe he should stop ending the tours here.
Because I thought it was going to be that, and now we're in this, it's like, I've shown you all these lovely things to lull you into a false sense of security. Now we're going to go into the basement and I'm going to threaten you. No, he just ends the tour with his basement. There's shit. There's no, threat. Burns is just an idiot. And I don't know why that really fucking got me.
I didn't even pick up on that. I'm an idiot. I didn't even realize that the gag was, this is the threatening interrogation room. It's like, no, it's just a shit
It's
basement.
just a shit basement with a ping pong table. Yo, fact. I would love to one day have a house with a room large enough to have a fucking ping pong table. I love table tennis, man.
Burns begins a negotiation with Homer, but Homer realizes he needs to use the bathroom. Unfortunately for him, Burns starts making several double entendres again, this time using coffee, which included making a splash, and Homer's a bit of a whiz. Get it?
I
Looking at
didn't
the
even
numbers.
pick up on that.
Oh, yeah, it's all stuff that makes you want to pee. There's a drip in the background.
Yeah, as he pours
Burns
out
Oh,
coffee.
knocks
because
the cup and it splashes.
It's negotiation tactics, isn't it? They've said, that make the person need to pee.
Is that? Oh no,
yeah.
I didn't get the impression Burns was wanting to make him need to pee, but the recurring gag was all these things were making Homer want
Yeah,
to
of course,
pee.
but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It is an actual negotiation tactic
Is it?
to
Okay.
ply the person with water, and I mean it's more, I think, an interrogation tactic, but that seems pretty fitting for Mr. Burns.
I mean, I've heard that at least as far as public speaking goes,
That you should need to pee. Yes, I
Yeah.
also watched that episode of QI.
Yeah. Oh right, is that where that's from?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes,
So,
he also
surely
he also talks about the fact that when you need to pee, you should keep as still as possible.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Homer
Okay.
does not stay as still as possible and asks to use the bathroom, and Burns says it's the 23rd door on the left. Homer can't count, so we just start seeing him
Apparently
go
not.
check every single room before just saying nope. Burns laments the fact that he assumed Homer's need to use the toilet he's mistaken for. He just didn't want to hear me out.
Yeah.
And we see Homer come back, and Burns asks him if he found the bathroom okay, and Homer very sheepishly says yes.
Yeah.
Burns is being very nice this episode. He takes Homer home with his own personal helicopter, which unfortunately cuts Marge's hair off.
That like proper giggle, like just the noise, just really quickly, just complete throwaway gag.
Burns concedes defeat, but says he will crush Homer like a bug as the helicopter takes off.
Like a bug.
Then we don't hear Burns screaming as he falls out of the helicopter, and there's a nice little snap of his spine as he hits the ground.
Oh no, that noise.
Burns then asks Homer to rub his legs until the feeling comes back.
Oh, also, sorry, just a random thing that I was thinking about, because, you know, he showed, like, the largest TV in the free world. Do you remember when TVs were, like, the size of modern TVs, but the resolution was still shit?
Not particularly, no.
Because I remember my parents had, like, friends that bought, like, a massive TV. You know, one of those ones that was, like, it took up the room kind of thing. And, yeah, the resolution was still shit. It was just huge.
I mean, at a certain point, CRT, just becomes impractical as a technology to make big. So, like, I don't ever recall many people having massive CRTs.
I don't know if it was a CRT.
When you said, like, big well, I mean, when we're talking about TVs from 1993, I was assuming we're talking CRT TVs.
This
No,
is before
I
the
think it was
days of high definition, isn't it?
Yeah, it was in the 2000s.
Okay. I mean, we were just speaking of old CRT TVs, though, just to go on my own tangent. I recall the gaming events Michael and I used to run years ago. We did at one point get offered a TV, which the guy who owned it described it as being the size of a coffin.
What a specific,
I remember this.
What a specific phrase.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it?
And we politely turned it down because we thought, what the hell are we going to do with this?
And where are you going to put a TV the size of a coffin? That's going to live in someone's house. And I already had 7
ass.
CRT TVs.
We then see that Burns is being airlifted away, and as he's being laughing maniacally, he just hit several chimneys on the way. As Homer says he's going to resign as the head of the union and says he doesn't understand why he was elected in the first place, Marge says it's because they like you at the plant, and Homer fondly remembers how everyone loves him, including patting his bald head and poking him in the stomach to hear his girlish squeal.
My girlish giggle.
Marge then points out this sounds like they don't actually like him, and Homer realizes that is indeed the case. And he vows that the next day he's going to punch Lenny in the back of the head. We cut to,
And then he does.
we cut to the next
Smash
scene.
cut to him doing exactly that, yeah.
I'm going to laugh. The noise Lenny makes after he gets punched in the back of the head is still one of the funniest things.
It's like a quarter second of a gag, but it lands perfectly.
It's so good.
It's just bam, done, next scene.
We're done with this.
That's all it needs to be. We then cut back to picture day at the school, and see that Skinner's giving the kids several things for the way their hair looks, which includes getting their cowlicks down and sorting out their part. He then yells at one kid to uncross his eyes, but it turns out he has crossed eyes anyway. So
What was he called?
Quigley. They give him like one of the Flanders kids' voices, though.
I won't even pay attention.
I don't think many of the kids get many multitude of different voice actors.
Yeah, I don't think this was a recurring character. This was a throwaway gag again. It's like Toothy Joe or whatever. It's, you know.
And what man can tame her?
Yeah.
Quickly, apparently.
Quigley. Always Quigley. Justice for Quigley.
We then see Lisa's getting a picture taken, and Lisa's obviously been to the dentist since, because the Iron Maiden is now off.
Yeah.
And the photographer is trying to encourage Lisa to smile and show off her beautiful smile, and Lisa does eventually smile, and it's
Just
fucking
smile without
horrific.
teeth. Just smile without teeth. This is a non-issue. Just smile without teeth. That's what I did as a kid. Just smile without teeth.
Mm-hmm.
There's enough for the photographer to give up his belief in God, and Lisa has
There is no God.
We then cut back to Homer, and he says that he's been meeting with Mr. Burns and he's had enough, and this prompts everyone to immediately vote for a strike, except the one guy who goes,
No.
Homer finally asks who the hell this is, and we cut to 2 gentlemen at the back, and all I can say is, thank God they got the right guy, because that
Get it,
muscular guy
boys.
deserved it.
I thought that bit, I recalled that bit being more of a 2-time joke. Like, I was always expecting at least like a rule of 3s in comedy where this would come up on the 3rd time, but like, no, this guy only appears twice. The
No.
character.
Hey, he laughed.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious.
Oh yeah. I just thought there were more instances of meh.
We then cut back, and the strike is in full force, and Lisa's playing the guitar outside, and
Yo, this song's dope.
Lisa's got a very nice protest song going on here.
Yeah, well, this song whips, yeah.
Chief Wiggum's in his car being rocked back and forth. And he's absolutely loving life. Burns decides he's going to do something about this and calls for some strike breakers, exactly the ones that they had in the 30s. Unfortunately, Smithers takes this a bit too literally and actually gets the strike breakers from the 30s.
I fucking love this bit so
Oh
much.
god, another bit that I did not know was this
Yeah,
episode.
which
This
was
has
the
so
style
many
at the
good
time.
bits.
So the strike breakers are headed up by Grandpa, who says they can't bust heads like they used to, but they have their own ways, which is to tell stories that go nowhere. And this leads Grandpa to go into his story of the ferry to Shelbyville, which goes absolutely fucking nowhere.
What was it for? It's like the ferry to where, which was
Morganville, which they
was
called
what
Shelbyville
called
in those
Shelbyville
days.
in those days.
I mean, the main thing you've got to remember is that he had an onion on his belt, which was the
Which is
style.
the style
What's the
at the
style of time?
Halfway through his story, we cut to Burns and Smithers.
Sorry, I can't remember what it said. There was something. There was my favorite
No, we're
one.
not doing it all.
My favorite,
No.
my favorite one I saw of the which was the style at the time bit was someone saying, and then I typed in my text by pressing the numbers multiple times, which was the style at the time. I was like, I'm so old. I hate that I get that joke. I'm so old.
Then we next cut to Mr. Burns with the hose about to douse down the strikers. Unfortunately, the hose is too powerful for him, and he takes out Smithers on himself. Lisa finishes her song, which says that Burns has the plan, but they have the power. Lenny comes over and says he wants some classical gas, and we just get some really good classical gas, and we just see that Lenny is absolutely vibing.
Lenny loves it, man.
Yeah. Side note, have we seen Lisa play guitar before?
No.
Like, we've always known her to be, like,
A saxophonist.
saxophone, but, like...
I think they slowly build her up to be, like, just musically proficient in general. Like, I'm fairly certain she plays the piano at one point.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know, apparently, that if you can play the piano, it's easier to learn other instruments.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I suppose it means you can read music easier or something.
Yeah, but I think it's just something to do with the, like, finger proficiency. Click, click.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. I found that fact out and was like, that's neat.
That is indeed neat. Anyway. So we see Burns is now looking at Homer with the binoculars, and Homer's back outside Joe's catering, presumably to get his next score.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
Burns declares that Homer thinks he's the cock of the walk, but he's cock of nothing. As Smithers makes an
Sure,
interesting
okay.
noise. Burns declares he and Smithers can run the plan themselves, and we get a montage of this happening.
It's
Another
so
musical
weird.
interlude.
Burns is tap dancing on the console. They've created a two-headed dog that they're throwing frisbees to. I like how...
And the music is not exactly, but I think very similar to Land of Chocolate.
I was thinking the same
It
thing,
is.
yeah.
I like how halfway through the montage, Burns gives up on the plan entirely and just gets the robot workers out.
So
which
I have-
immediately turn on him.
I have two questions about this scene and the one prior. First off, doesn't Lisa have school? Also, if the workers are striking and Burns and Smithers have to run the plant solo, where is the city's power coming from? This gets answered in a moment, but it doesn't really. But carry on.
That dog.
The dog's providing the power.
We then cut to Smartline as the Union strike is now taking over the airways of Argo Bargo or Foofar. I think I said that right.
Argle bargle or foofar?
Weird nonsense words, yes.
We then see that the guests are Monty Burns, Homer Simpson, and talk show mainstay Dr. Joyce Brothers, who brought her own mic. So I guess Joyce Brothers was catching some strays, though.
Weirdest cameo, because she is playing herself. She was a TV personality, and they got her on to play herself, and they had her say, I brought my own mic. That's it. That's the bit.
Ken Brockman tries to start talking to Homer, and Homer immediately starts screaming. And,
Screams. My
and
producers
Ken
are telling me not to talk to you anymore.
he then allows Mr. Burns to go into his opening tirade, which Burns is very polite.
Yeah, I love the fact that he said you requested an opening tirade. That's so
Yes, thank you,
good.
Kent.
Burns then goes and threatens in 15 minutes he's going to bring doom onto the town, and this leads to Ken Brockman doing a nice little chuckle and saying a terrifying harbinger of things to come. We go back to the power plant and we see Mr. Burns and Smithers going through several security measures, including sticking his head into a facial recognition scanner, Batman-style poles, and a hidden book thing. Oh,
There's a bunch of references in there.
Yeah.
One of them is at least Batman as well.
Batman,
Again.
James Bond, everything.
There's a bunch of Batman in this episode.
Yeah.
Only to come to that slightly abandoned room which a dog has already broken into.
Batman doesn't dance anymore. Sorry, you just randomly made me think of that. Just Batman doesn't dance anymore.
Yeah, that was from Mr. Plow, which I think is our first YouTube video, so go check that out.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's advertising.
Yes, I'm clever.
One day I will go back and turn the first 3.5 seasons into videos, but that day is not today.
Burns does his dramatic finger stall and eventually turns off the power to the town, which immediately leads to looting.
I love,
and,
instantaneous. Instantaneous.
I don't think you can power down a nuclear power plant that fast. I gotta be honest with you.
I
You also
suppose you
see
don't
that,
have to. Sorry, I'm just going to be
there's
really nerdy. You don't have to power down the plant. You just have to turn off the transformer, essentially, which turns the high voltage power that the plant is producing into low voltage power, which is what goes through power lines. So yeah,
If you're not powering stuff, that energy has to go somewhere, right? Otherwise, that's extremely
just get
dangerous.
stored.
Where?
Most power plants have batteries.
Not to the extent of that you could just divert the entire power of a nuclear power plant into a battery for however long Burns has got in mind, right?
I'm not saying it's scientific. I'm just saying that's
they're
probably
in that
what
core
they're
thing
doing.
with the dog.
I don't think the Simpsons writers know how a nuclear power plant works, is all
I
I'm
don't
saying.
think the Simpsons writers know anything, so it doesn't really matter.
I mean, I appreciate the fact that the blackout is announced in light of light.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got a backup generator, it's fine.
So the lights go off around the Union strikers, and instead of being disheartened, they start singing in a big circle. Mr. Burns, meanwhile, goes all
They
green
had
on us, as
no
he does
idea how
exactly.
to end this episode. They had no fucking clue.
But that's what makes it even better. It's just Burns leaning over in his best Grinch impression, and he realizes that his plan has not worked, and he starts rhyming, and he rhymes blenders with schmendlers, which is phenomenal. And eventually Burns decides to make the feat and strikes a deal with Homer. The deal is that he'll give him the dental plan back, but Homer must resign as head of the union. This delights Homer, and he begins whooping on the floor. And
I did
spinning in a
not
circle.
again. Yeah, this is another like iconic Simpsons thing that just came from this episode.
Yeah, amount of times I've seen the gif of Homer just spinning in circles on the floor, with the Burns just staring, you're like, what the fuck?
He's like, I don't think Homer was the brilliant tactician I thought he was, or something.
Yeah. So after this, Homer comes outside and declares they're going back to work. But the power comes back onto the town, including into the porno district and the fake vomit
This was
factory.
weird. This was weird.
The pillars
This
of
was
society.
Yeah, it's just like these are the crucial industries that are keeping society together.
I guess
that are,
so,
like,
yeah.
Integral to
Yeah,
civilization.
because I'm fairly certain.
This is what
yeah.
we need electricity
I'm fairly
for.
certain there's been a similar
So-
bit. I think they are referencing something.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
So we're back in the dentist's office, and Lisa's now got her invisible braces in. So third set in about
How does this work?
24 hours,
How
so-
are they invisible? How? Explain it in detail, please.
science.
All right,
Yeah,
no,
science.
fair enough. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how they work. I have seen adverts for invisible braces in this day and age. I don't think invisible braces existed in 1993, though, as far as I'm
I
aware.
think human teeth are incredibly inefficient, and we should just start removing them and replacing them. That should just be
Grim.
free.
Again, you keep coming up with a lot of tooth-based horror for
That's not
somebody who
tooth-based
doesn't
horror.
like
That's
tooth-based horror.
dentures, you psychopath. My dad has those.
I think you.
Yeah,
I think you secretly collect teeth.
I don't know, you very much sounded like your modest proproposal there was we should just yank out everybody's teeth, all of them, every single
Yeah.
tooth.
And we should eat
Put
the
them
Irish.
into Matt's and put them back into Matt's special drawer.
Drop singular. How dare you? They're organised.
So Marge points out that they can't see Lisa's braces, and Lisa says, and that's the tooth, making a tooth pun. Everybody starts laughing hysterically, and then it's actually revealed, oops, I forgot to turn off the gas, and everybody just continues to laugh because they're
Why
obviously
did they
being
faint?
gassed
I
and-
was so expecting the fainting bit. Is that too obvious a bit?
mean-
I was fully expecting at least one of them to just go thump.
I mean, something that I only observed as we've been going through it, talking through it now, is like his gas is nitrous. That's not a knockout gas, to the best of my knowledge, unless you need very high doses of it. But I've
It's laughing gas, isn't it?
yeah, yes, that's why they laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, But like, I have undergone medical treatment before with nitrous, and it's also a painkiller as well. Like, you don't feel shit while you're high as fuck on it, but it doesn't knock you out, to the best of my knowledge.
I think they have different types of gas,
Okay.
particularly in America. So they do have laughing gas, but I think they also have knockout gases for ones that are more problematic.
Anesthetic can be administered through gas.
Yeah. But like, I mean, I was just assuming he's only got one cylinder of gas there.
I was also expecting a reference to Seinfeld. This is going to be a random fucking tangent, but shit, what's he called? I love this guy. The guy that plays Walter White.
I know who you mean. I don't know the guy's name.
Anyway, he was in Seinfeld when he, like, early on in his career, and he played a, like, crazy dentist, and right before he does, like, this really important medical procedure, he takes a huge huff of nitrous, and I thought they were going to make a reference to that. I don't know why. I just thought that was where the reference was going.
Right.
Yeah, that's Matt's random-ass tangent of the day.
That's the episode.
That is an episode.
What a great episode.
What did you think?
It was a great episode.
Oh, this episode is fantastic.
Are we unanimous?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe. Agreed for once. Been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. I've been fairly met on a lot of the episodes recently.
In fact, I think it's a homer.
Oh wow,
jumping straight to
homer.
it. Yeah. Okay.
It's been a while since Michael's given a homer as well.
But the Burns bits are hysterical.
Yeah, it is a really good episode.
The whole, and I know that the B plot has its moments with the whether or not Lisa's braces should be invisible or not, but the good outweighs the bad.
I was going to say any bad is nitpicking. Yeah.
And Lenny being punched in the back of the head is freaking hilarious.
I think that's I think most of my homers have been episodes without B plots. Is the thing for me. Yeah,
the B plot ties in well enough, or whatever phrasing you used. If you don't want to use the phrase "ties in," they work together well enough that it doesn't feel like a B plot.
No, that's fair.
Because, I mean, I think the last episode definitely could have stood to have not had a B-plot, or a better tied-in B-plot, certainly. It just felt like two stories that they didn't give enough time to either of them.
Absolutely, but the last episode, I think that's what disappointed me about it, to some extent, was that, either of those plots could have been in a full episode on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And been very, like, way better because of it.
I mean, I think we're already very much established this is great, so, Matt, what was your score?
This gets a homer running on the floor out of Homer. Classic.
So
it's not a homer. It's not quite a homer for me.
Okay.
I just thought it was funny. I wanted to do the bit. It gets a homer running on the floor out of Homer, because that's a classic. It is a classic episode, and that is one of the things that I remember the most from Simpsons is Homer running in a little circle.
I know this season I've been dishing them out like candy, but it is also a homer out of Homer for me.
Damn, nice.
I mean, I think I'm in good company on that to dig through whatever sort of critical reception people have of this episode. I think it's widely considered by many people one of, if not the best episode of The Simpsons ever.
Wow, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of classic bits came from it. It's fair.
So many. I just bits I didn't even realize. I did not know the story that goes nowhere was from this.
It's just fantastic.
Did this have anything to say about society?
I mean, it's obviously it's doing the social issue kind of thing for a vehicle for jokes. I don't think it really put much effort into making any deep commentary. Burns was an evil capitalist. Homer was the uneducated worker. It says more about the opinions of blue-collar workers than it does about power dynamics and union busting. I think I think you could very easily overthink this episode and think it's saying a lot. I don't think it is, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, you can argue the toss over whether it is saying anything, but I feel like the ending, to me, I feel like it says that solidarity works. People in power think they hold all the cards, but together, united, we can do more.
Yeah, beyond union good, I think it doesn't say much, is what I'm trying to say, sorry.
I think it also makes a little bit of a comment about how ignorant people in power can be, because throughout the whole episode, Burns thinks he's dealing with a mastermind tactician.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And it's only until he gets to the absolute end that he realises that Homer had absolutely no idea what he was doing.
He is, as cunning and quick-witted as Elon Musk in this episode. Which is to say, not very.
This is why he's now head of Dodge.
I suppose as regards the...
No. He is the co-head of the government efficiency. Two people for government efficiency. Two people.
No, they fired Vivek Ramaswamy, didn't they?
I have no idea. I don't follow that shit. It's so depressing.
Like, it's very funny because he really, really wanted power, and then he got power and then lost it immediately. It's just it's a chaotic clusterfuck over there, and it is.
What a shithole.
To quote another bit of Matt Groening's works, it's like watching a monkey with a hand grenade. It's horrifying, but you can't look away.
It's true.
That's a very good way of describing it, actually.
Yeah, I mean, like, I suppose the one bit I found remarkable or interesting, maybe not remarkable, about the end, it was showing the public reaction to, like, being plunged into darkness, like, knowing the world and the power dynamics and the forces at play. You'd sort of expect, and maybe an element of, like, the people turning against the people striking, or being turned by other powerful forces like the media against the people striking. How many strikes have we had in the UK in the past few years where the media have painted them as, oh, the boogeyman, oh, the trains aren't running in time, that's because those work-shy strikers just can't be asked to do their jobs. And it's like, oh, fuck off. So the fact that everyone's just like, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the solidarity we want in the world. Learn from it. They may not be saying anything, but you should learn from it. That solidarity is how shit gets done. If you want a better world, unity, solidarity, community.
Be French about it.
Fraternité.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, outros.
Promote some stuff. Matt, what you got?
Hey, new episode of All for Arnold's coming out soon. I promise. I swear. And then we've got two more, some cool episodes coming. Fucking Predator, and I love Predator.
Nice.
I'm so used to promoting More Man in the Morning. I almost just went straight into saying, "Hey, go listen to More Man in the Morning on
You
Spotify."
can promote that too.
Hey, go listen to More Man in the Morning on Spotify right now. It's also on YouTube now. It's a podcast where we watch all of the Simpsons in order. It's a gas.
A laughing gas.
Classical gas.
And a classical gas, yes.
And a
multiple gases. Michael.
You can follow me on Blue Sky at Button Mash Horse. Same thing if you really want to follow my profile on X. Not a lot happening now. If I'm being blunt.
I've officially deleted my account now.
I've still got mine because of my union work. How did we get through the union episode without talking about our own union experiences? I kind of meant to do that, and that has completely fallen by the wayside.
I have none.
Michael, tell us about your union and why people should join it. If you think they should, I don't know.
Well, if you're not in our teaching profession, it's probably going to be someone useless to you. But yes, it does its work. Yet to see any evidence of any mafia-related business, or
cool.
No one's turned up dead yet. So
Molto bene.
go us. It's a nicer donut occasionally. But no green cookie.
Okay.
What's
Right.
even the point if you don't get a green cookie on St. Patrick's
You
Day?
need to get onto your union rep and tell them, like, your workplace needs to get you green cookies on St. Patrick's Day. It's like, you're paying your dues for nothing otherwise.
I think 3 people get fired for that green cooking. The HR department goes.
John, since you clearly wanted to tell us about your union experiences, please tell us about your union experience.
Mine is not a trade union. I'm a member of Acorn, which is a community union. They do good work. They were massive in the United States up until Obama got elected. By the way, they were the ones who got Obama elected. Thank you very much. And then
war crime.
Then the Democrat. Well, I mean, it was either that or more Republicans. So which one do you want?
That's fair.
Then the Democrats threw them under the bus, and they're not a big thing in the US anymore, but they're still big around the rest of the world, including the UK, and they do good things in communities in your area, probably. We have one around my neck of the woods in Cardiff, biggest one's in Bristol. Brighton have been doing good work. They got them in, like, pretty much most cities, I think, at this point. We are currently campaigning to force the council to reinstate the winter fuel allowance. yeah, just check out Acorn the Union, find out what your local branch is doing, and get involved in your community, and do some solidarity and unity, and make them turn the power back on, or, get things you want in your community. That's my union shilling.
I am not part
Very
of the
good.
union. I am just a union in and of myself.
Matters people enslaved for stealing atoms.
Yeah, duh.
We did some stuff. I was involved in action today, but I have no idea whether I'm any liberty to go into any detail on it. So go. For some reason, Acorn still uses Twitter. Go look up Acorn Cardiff on Twitter if you want to see what we've been up to today, because there'll be some stuff about it on there. It was dramatic, and it was dramatic. I'll leave it at that. Cool. Follow me on Blue Sky at Maroka. Follow my other YouTube channel, which doesn't get used much anymore, which is Button Mash. Go listen to All for Arnold.
Yo.
I know that's already been promoted, but I'm going to promote it as well because it's great. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.